Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
This week at Macy's, get great deals on fashion and home essentials. Update your wardrobe with 20% off new spring shoes and sneakers. And 20 to 50% off fresh looks for him and her. Plus, transform your space with Luxe Hotel Collection bedding, now 40% off. And Macy's Star Rewards members can earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Welcome to Sporgy,
the show that gives you half-ass sports fans giving their half-ass opinions.
and now here are your hosts.
I'm Rich.
I'm the Iceman.
And it's March, and that means spring trainings. And yeah,
Spring training, and this is a take two, so we're going to continue the conversation because I want to know what Earl had to say. In the state of Michigan, apparently they opened up the Comerica Park, which seats over 40,000 people, to 750 paying customers can now show up until further notice, which to me, I'm just thinking, so that's got to be high rollers, right? That's got to be the big money tickets. There's no point in letting the people with the fucking $10 Skyline seats in.
Yeah, these got to be your season ticket holders, right?
Season tickets, people who want to sit in the fucking luxury boxes, the Tiger Den, by the way, at Comerica Park it's the spot right behind home plate. Well, not right behind, but up a little bit. You're not right on the fence behind home plate. But it's like full service. You don't even have to get up out your seat. They have waiters that bring your food and your drinks to you. I'm assuming those seats are probably going to be sold. Well, because it also looks good because you can put people behind home plate. Well, it's good on TV.
For those of you doing the math at home, that is a 1.875% capacity. So my guess is we're not opening everything up. We're maybe going to have like maybe 2 concession stands. Maybe.
I was hoping we would be like the Houston Astros and just end the mandate.
Well, that's all going to depend on what Houston decides, because the state mandate ends in Texas March 10th, but the localities can still do their own thing.
It really depends on, now we have, President Joe saying, by March, everybody in this country will be vaccinated, which is like, well, then why are we already canceling 2021 on the whole if not even a quarter way through the fucking year, everybody's going to be vaccinated? What's the fucking point then?
Well,
what's the point of the vaccination?
Well, that's the thing, is Joe's blue skying it. He's saying, what he's saying is there will be enough vaccines for all of us. He didn't say anything about they'll all be distributed, because that's where we've seemed to hit the snag with this whole thing. And he's now been in charge longer than DJT was. So, apparently bureaucracy doesn't give a fuck about the color of your tie.
No, it doesn't. But no, it's just I might be wrong. I think I'm wrong. I think it's if the venue in Michigan, sporting venue, seats less than 10,000, you can have 750 people in an enclosed space. I believe it's a higher number for an open air venue. But I'm just thinking like, okay, so what does this extend to as far as, okay, you go to, let's say college professional team, whatever you want to call it, goes to a state that's relaxed all their mandates, full fucking occupancy. Team plays there. Then they come back to their state where they are still under mandates of, 50 or less %, whatever, mask, all that shit. How's that going to work? I mean, the NHL just said basically, okay, if your team's based in Canada, you're your own division. You will only play teams in Canada. When the playoffs come, they'll probably do the bubble thing again.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
I mean, Yeah, if you're a Canadian hockey fan, because then you really get to see real rivalries. You get to see teams that actually give a fuck about winning. I mean, that's not fair, but some of these teams, I'm like, Coyotes looking at you. Why are you even in the league? But that's beside the point. But no, it's good, I guess. But at the same time, I'm to the point where I'm like, are we getting mixed messages here? Because I'm hearing from experts that, oh yeah, the vaccine, once 70 to 75% of the population is vaccinated in the continental United States, we're pretty much in the clear. Then I hear, no, we got to keep wearing masks and keep social distancing and all this shit. And I'm like, after the vaccine, I'm like, well, what the fuck? Can you all get together and figure out what the fuck's going on before you release 15 different press releases saying 15 different things?
I'm willing to bet that last group is kind of in the same group that hasn't left their house since last March. Like, dude, you can leave your house. You just got to take precautions.
Yeah, they're never going to get this together. They've been trying to scare people for 20 years on fucking disease. And when the lead member of the CDC came out and was like, it's not mandatory to have a vaccine for teachers before they go back to work, the White House came out and said, she's speaking in her own capacity.
See,
what does that even mean?
That's what I'm getting at. The problem is you have way too many people who shouldn't even be asked this question because they're not experts in the field, being asked medical questions, giving their uninformed opinion. Because apparently in society, we're not allowed to say the words, I don't know anymore, especially if you're in politics. And I mean, it's real simple. If someone asks me a question and I'm a paid mouthpiece for a politician, I don't know. I don't have the latest information and the latest thoughts of the politician I'm speaking for on this. We will get back to you as soon as possible.
Yeah,
I don't know I'll get back to you.
Yeah, you are taught when you have corporate jobs, you're always taught to say, I don't know, but I can find out. We never hear that last part. We never hear that last part. We get people, our last president was great. Our last president would never say, I can find out. He just make up some shit off the top of his head. And the rest of society's kind of taking a cue from that.
I guess. I mean, look, obviously baseball, hockey, football, and the NBA have all proven they're going to power through this shit. People in the stands they don't give a fuck. They're putting on the fucking games. They're going to do their best. My thing is, like, I foresee way too many moving parts and way too many chefs in the kitchen and not enough fucking pots for each chef to have its own pot. One team goes to play a team that doesn't have the mandates. Something happens. Okay, all hell break loose. Do you shut down the season for a couple weeks? I mean, that's what we were doing last season. Or you team can't play for a week, and that's how come I think it was the Cardinals ended up with 10 or 11 double headers in a row.
Well, wasn't that the team that all went to the strip club though?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they did it because someone fucking got a bum test or they were being stupid. The point is it happened. And I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. What's the point of fucking think of everybody involved with a professional sports team. Because you're not just talking about 25 people in the coaching staff. You're talking about medical staff, people carrying the gear, people that travel with the team. I'm sure the higher profile, Miggy's got a personal assistant that never hardly leaves his fucking side. He's got enough goddamn money to. That type of shit. All this shit factors into it. And all it takes is one person slipping up. And that's the thing. You don't even have to have it. You just have to be exposed to it, and we want you to take a time out from society for 10 days.
Yeah.
Some of us might know about that.
Yeah,
on a personal level.
I'm currently in the middle of that. Yeah. Oh yeah, Ice. You don't know. My wife got the COVID.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm good. I've tested clean. I got another one tomorrow, and
which makes me wonder. Like, are you like sleeping in the basement and she's upstairs, or are you just going about your normal fucking routine?
Oh yeah, I've moved into a different part of the house. We're still on the same floor. But yeah, no, it's like Yeah, if I get within if I was getting within 6 feet with her, I was putting my mask on. But yeah, no, with plenty of interactions in the kitchen. Like, hey, 6 feet wise, get away, hey.
And ain't that big of a kitchen either.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So is she needing a ventilator and all well wishes and?
No, she only got a light version of the COVID because
she got my version.
Well, because she got it at work where she was always masked up. So she got the light COVID, which she works. She's a teacher, and guess what, everybody? She didn't get it from the kids. She got it from the other adults. But now we're straying into unregimented territory.
Yeah, that's because there's plenty of people who have made decisions for counties, cities, states that say, "Oh, you can't send your kids. No, we can't have them in school." And it turns out they're still sending their kids to private schools. And it's like, of course they are.
The kids are fine. It's the adults. I heard on Rich, on the Scrubs podcast, they had on the Real JD like a couple months ago. And he explained that there is some chemical that shows up between being a kid and basically when puberty kicks in, your body starts producing a chemical that COVID bonds to better. You're a kid, you don't produce this chemical. You hit puberty, you start producing it. That's why kids... it's very spotty with kids.
Gotcha.
So they have figured out. I mean, even the CDC, it came out and said, hey, teachers don't have to get vaccinated, but once the teachers' unions get involved, and all of a sudden the messaging changes. God damn it, we're talking about sports. Sorry.
But she was speaking in her own capacity. I still don't know what that means.
Well, I guess it's all tangentially related, I guess.
I look at it this way. I was watching the news, and I especially about everything in the country and sports, I look at it, and now I just don't give a shit. I look at it as our generation gave the world to the new generations, and it was a decent world. We made some things easier with the internet and so forth, and we made some changes to sports to make it a bit more safe, a bit more entertaining. And they just took it and ran with it. It's like, I'm not going to agree with it. I'll never agree with it. I have my opinions, but fuck it. Sit here and argue with people about it anymore is just stupid because they think they're right.
Well, let's be honest. The NFL exposed a lot of this Chicken Little shit. Like, the $1 billion machine that is the NFL that wanted to keep moving taught us a lot a lot of the things we were doing may have been a little bit overblown. But then again, I was just talking to my wife upstairs about it. Like a year ago, we thought it was a death sentence, right? And we're a year later, we've learned shit about it. So,
well, it's not just excuse me, whether the precautions were overblown, whatever. It's that you have disrupted the lives and the ability to survive of so many fucking people. And at this point, if they come out and say, we may have really seriously overestimated how dangerous and deadly this thing is. Sorry about that. What about, great, wonderful. If you're 5 or 6, you got a year vacation from school. If you're 66, 72, you've just given up years of your life that you didn't need to over some shit that we could have handled much better. Kind of an issue here. And I mean, it's going to continue to be an issue because, once again, I can't find it. I did a quick search. Everything I'm looking up for Michigan as far as their outdoor sports seating is they keep giving me shit for what the athletes need to do. I don't give a fuck what the athletes need to do. They make millions of dollars to play the fucking games. Do what you're fucking told. Whatever. Put a mask on when you're sitting in a dugout. Who gives a shit? But it still doesn't change the fact that there's going to be, do these business owners not realize, I know that the narrative that's being pushed is that everybody's sitting at home, and because of the semiconductor shortage and the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox shortage and all this shit, everybody's got all this money sitting at home, and they They don't know what to do with it. They don't know where to spend it. Okay, great. Well, if you're solidly middle class, you're probably in that position. Meanwhile, working class people, the people that prop society up, working poor, working class people, people that scare the shit out of the middle class so they keep fucking being slaves to the fucking ruling class, they're not doing so hot. And who the fuck you think goes to most games and shit? And if it comes out that we fucked up. We were too cautious. Oh, so not only did you fuck up and take away X amount of years of my life, but you fucked with my money. Yeah, fuck you. I mean, do they think that these stadiums are going to be like full to capacity the minute they open? I don't think so. I think a lot of people are scared, man. I listen to a lot of sports talk radio. A lot of people call in and are like, I don't give a fuck about no vaccination or mask. I'm not fucking sitting with 100,000 people at the big house on a Saturday afternoon. That ain't happening.
Well, the other thing is you don't have to sit with 100,000 people at the big house. I think 2020 has shown a lot of people that it's a lot more fun to sit at the house and watch.
Well, the other thing, too, I was telling Aaron on a couple shows ago on the Wheatman podcast, available here on ChristopherMedia.net, that, I'm not sure. It's going to take me a minute to want to be around crowds again. I didn't like crowds before this. And now, it's going to take me a second.
Well, I mean, it's not even just it's okay. You take the amount of people who would go, but they're leery, out of the equation. Now you have people that I know people. Let's put it this way: 2/3 of this podcast knows at least one person who has been sitting and fighting for going on a year to get any type of fucking assistance. This is a person who works a seasonal job when everything's normal and always collects unemployment in the winter unless he's got, some plowing to do or some snow removal to do. And we really haven't had that bad of a winter. He's still waiting a fucking year. They have a year of fucking unemployment and the stimulus checks sitting there, and they won't give it to him over horse shit. Now, he can't be the only one. He's just the first person that comes to mind. I've also heard of people, maybe even somebody who's related to somebody on this podcast, who hasn't even gotten the first stimulus check yet.
Yeah, or the second. And last year, right, when I didn't need unemployment, super easy for me to collect and get. Then I realized, oops, we made a mistake. Now, when I've needed it, I'm going on 3 months of waiting to get my claim reopened.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And the only thing that happened, the only reason that my claim went through like it did is because I exhausted at the state level everything I could, and the feds contacted me and said, "Oh, you're a gig worker, you're a tipped worker, you don't, and you don't have quote unquote adequate work history with the state of Michigan, then you qualify for federal aid." If they hadn't contacted me and told me that, I'd have never known that until someone did. And then I'd have probably had to jump through fucking hoops, but I jumped on it the minute I saw that fucking thing. And I got in line early, and it was third week of January, boom, approved. And I'm just like, nice. That's super quick. Because I know other people are sitting, I'm not talking people sitting around for disability. I'm not talking about the normal bureaucratic bullshit and the wheels of progress turn slow and all that horse shit. I'm talking about people who are hurting at the moment directly because of COVID. And there's like, do these businesses think these people are just going to fucking dump back in the money they were back into their, like they were? Yeah, they might buy the packages and sit at home and watch it. But once they buy the package, that's it. There's no concessions. There's no parking. There's no fucking nothing. There's no memorabilia being sold. That's where that's the cash cow shit. Go to a fucking park. Let me tell you something. Fountain soda, the largest cup you can think, like a 64-ounce cup, costs maybe 10 cents to fill up with soda. The cup and the containers cost more than the fucking product. So when they're selling them for $10-12 a pop for a fucking 12-ounce fucking drink, do the math on the return they're getting.
Those are products I like to refer to as they're just piles of margin. Here you go. It is nothing but profit.
If you work at a pizza place, the two things you're going to make the most money off of is your crazy type bread, Bartlett, gutter, and parm on regular bread, no cheese, And if you have fountain drinks, those are the things you bring the biggest return on for what you put in to make them.
Yeah, I know my old job. Breadsticks in the bag were 40 cents. The whole 15 years I worked there. Like man.
Yeah. Yeah, our packaging for our breadsticks cost more than our breadsticks to make. Like, seriously, that was no bullshit. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, that's why we always upsell the bread. Always. Because they go, oh, yeah, Adam, okay, it cost us 30 cents, but they just paid $3. It's a pretty good return. But, I mean, that's what I'm saying. These things like this are going to be lost. I mean, at what point does it start affecting what you're seeing on the field? I mean, Yankees, Cardinals, Cubs, Red Sox, teams like that, they got nothing to worry about. They have built-in fan bases because even when they're bad, their fans love to go and then bitch about them being bad, whereas most teams just don't go see a bad team. Most fans don't go see a bad team, period. They just don't. Or it's like, hey, fuck it, we ain't got anything to do. We got an extra couple, $100. Want to go down and see if we can hit the will call window and get some Skyline tickets? Shit like that.
Well, the Pistons are going to learn that shit real quick once our stadium opens up, because they remember all the experts going, what the fuck are they doing in the off season? 9-25, baby. They are the second worst team in the league. So yeah, good luck. They have the Pistons and the Wings in the same building. 750 might be a little lofty.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We don't have good teams at the moment here in state, period, end of story, outside of college basketball.
Yeah, maybe if you played them, maybe if they both played at the same time, you get 750 in there.
I mean, because think about it. If you're going to a basketball game and they're like, okay, well, we can only fit X amount of people in. Okay, well, then can we sit up near the court? No, that's not where you paid for your ticket. So you rather have empty seats? Why would I fucking go? But then the problem is, what happens? You guys remember basketball games pre-COVID? Fucking, you could damn near sit on the floor. You put your foot out, damn near trip a player if you're sitting on the floor. I mean, how many times has Spike Lee or Jack Nicholson been told by a ref, sit down, shut up before they tee up their team for fucking, walking on the court talking shit to a ref, and he's like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? Sit down in your $2,000 seat, asshole."
Don't forget Drake. Didn't Drake actually get a technical?
I don't know.
He wasn't even on the team.
It would make sense. That front-running douchebag.
That made me think, Rich, when you were talking about how COVID affected everybody. With these high school kids, they missed a graduation. A life-changing event for me, but it's just a graduation. What about these kids in college that were playing for their future, that didn't get a good showing because everybody canceled their games?
Well,
you got a draft coming up. You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because here's what they said about the NBA. They were talking about this very subject on the local sports station. If you're not projected to be a draft player in the NBA after your first, possibly second year, you might as well do all 4 fucking years of college. Because if you do get drafted, most likely you're going to be riding the bench or put in some developmental league somewhere. You're not going directly to the NBA. And the NBA pretty much, I mean, they're a professional sports agency or organization. Teams got scouts. They know who's worth a draft pick in the draft lottery and who's not. So, I mean, like, you might have to have a lot of athletes sitting down with a lot of coaches, a lot of professionals, maybe even some agents if their eligibility's up in the NCAA, and having some really uncomfortable conversations like, look here, man, you ain't good enough to go in the first round, and you damn sure ain't good enough to be a fucking draft pick. You're a low second rounder. So you might want to fucking figure out something else to do with your life.
Oh, but you can't speak that reality. Shaq's finding that out.
Yeah, no, because, it's the NBA, and I don't give a fuck about the NBA. Go ahead and explain this. You two seem to know a lot more about it than I do.
No, this season Shaq's just been getting a whole lot of shit from like some younger players and some of his colleagues on TV and social media. You know that he's basically doing he's okay. They're okay boomering him. You know, because he's basically saying how these guys just, they're trying to say it's a more pick and roll type of league now, but Shaq's just saying like they're not even making the effort for these picks. They're just letting guys through. It's calling people out. Who's the guy he called out like during a live interview and said, "I don't think you got what it takes."
It was Candace Parker.
No, there was a player. He said like during like his post game interview or his pregame, he's like, "Hey man, I don't think you got what it takes." And the player was kind of like, "What the fuck?" Just basically, Shaq.
That was last Thursday.
Shaq has been telling the league that the league is getting soft, and he is just getting so much pushback from everybody that he seems to work with and the usual culprits on social media. And I just think Shaq's calling it like he sees it, and these people don't like what they're hearing.
We can have a fucking 7-8 part documentary on Jordan last year during COVID, where people who never watched the NBA weren't even alive when Jordan started his career in the NBA. They watched the documentary, and that whole documentary talked about how pussy the fucking NBA is these days, and how if you weren't a hard motherfucker, you weren't you weren't taking it to the hole back in the day.
Oh no!
But Shaq, by the way, someone who played during that era, says this shit and catches hell. Okay.
Well, it's part of the old adage that we hear at Sporgy always say about the old guard. Shaq is the old guard, and he was among new guard. And he was telling them, look, you're not even trying. And just recently, Candace Parker was like, if you try to D up now, they'll kill you from the corner three. You got to do the pick and roll. He's like, nah, they're not even trying. You get in their face.
Yeah, Shaq's going, hey, you at least got to try. These dudes aren't even trying. What's Bill Burr? I know he's not a basketball analyst. He's a comedian. But he's an avid NBA fan, and it's one of the subjects he talks about on his podcast all the time. And that is one thing he complains about. He said NBA now versus NBA when he was younger. He's like, it's like the defenders now are like, here you go, sir. Here's your path to the basket.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not even going to the hole, though. People like Steph Curry catch and shoot from the three-point line. The kid's the most purest shooter the NBA has ever seen. But if you get in his face, maybe you get, a little bit different story. Probably not, because his shot is just the exact same, no matter what.
Because you know what it is? I don't think it's because we live in a world now where I don't think defense is sexy. Right? At least not in the NBA. It's all about how many assists, how many points you're putting up, right?
How many triple doubles you get.
Yeah.
Come on, Russell.
Well, I mean, guys, defense has been just flat out under attack in all sports, at least the four major sports, for decades now. Look at the NFL from 2000 to last season. Look at the NHL pre-2000 lockouts to now. At Major League Baseball, you can't slide in hard to break up a double play. You can't block home plate. These were all things that used to be, on a runner close at home. These are all things that used to be. And the NHL, don't even get me started. You can't even fucking do any. Basically, you just have to let a motherfucker sit over there and stick handle and toe drag and dance around you, because if you even fucking breathe on them, it's an interference call.
I bet you if Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer played now, some pussy motherfucker would probably file charges on one of them.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It's happened twice. Real life charges have been filed twice for what's happened on the ice in the NHL in the last 20 years. That's Marty McSorley going after Donald Brashear with his stick, and Todd Bertuzzi jumping that guy from Colorado. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, and this all comes down, let's just be honest here. This all comes down to, you have two generations now. The older millennials in sports are starting to retire. The Zoomers are coming up. This is the end result of never telling anyone anything they don't want to hear, and never telling anyone that they're even though they go, I'm doing my best, it's just not good enough. You're just not cut out for this. You can't say that.
Waiting for them to grow up. Well, they've grown up, and here we sit.
Oh, it's people telling someone they don't want to hear. Oh,
because let me tell you something. I used to watch a lot of Tigers, Red Wings in the 80s and the 90s, and every once in a while, Mickey Redmond would bring up something about, oh yeah, this player here, he's a throwback to the old day, the old days. And this was in the 80s and 90s when you had literally a line of Gerard Gallant, Bob Probert, and Joey Kosher prowling the ice looking for people to fuck up. Okay? I mean, that was their job, was to go and fuck the other team up. Period, end of story. No doubts about it. And these guys were like, yeah, we wouldn't have lasted back in the day. Those guys were fucking insane. Those were warriors. Those were savages. Nowadays, fuck them pussies. We fucking play at such a higher blah, blah, blah. Because no one's challenging you. You don't have to fucking contend with anybody playing defense. Of course you can fucking get out there and act like it's an and one mixtape.
Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Dear home, we need a change. A room evolution. We need HomeSense. A new store where one bold piece can change your whole place. Like a leather sofa built for beauty and binge watching. With endless discoveries, I'll always bring you something pretty, or cool, or pretty cool. Want a hand-woven rug? Game-changing savings mean the answer is yes. I'm going now. There are new stores in Carl Place, New York, and Toms River, New Jersey. Love you. HomeSense. This changes everything.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This week at Macy's, get great deals on fashion and home essentials. Update your wardrobe with 20% off new spring shoes and sneakers. And 20 to 50% off fresh looks for him and her. Plus, transform your space with Luxe Hotel Collection bedding, now 40% off. And Macy's Star Rewards members can earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
The irony of this whole conversation is Todd Bowles is the MVP of this last Super Bowl. In my opinion, the guy was the defensive guru who made sure Kansas City didn't score one fucking touchdown.
Let me tell you something.
There was so much talk.
They obviously did on Madden, because they do I guess quarterly updates on the stats during the season. So 4 games in, they update stats, 8 games in, blah, blah, blah. And then after the Super Bowl, they've turned Tampa Bay's defense into the fucking Iron Curtain on that video
I'm telling
game, bro.
you, dude.
Nice.
Dude, seriously, if I don't get 5 sacks a game and all I play is a defensive a nose tackle and a 3-4, I mean, personally, if I don't get 5 sacks a game with the player I'm controlling, I'm upset. I'm like, I played like shit.
Damn.
Dude, they've made that team a beast. And here's the thing. If I hadn't watched Super Bowl, I'd be like, that's bullshit. But I watched Super Bowl, and I watched my team fucking shut down Kansas City and went the whole time going, I ain't celebrating. I ain't texting nobody. I ain't saying shit. Because, motherfucker,
fucking Rich finally just let it happen.
28-3. I remember that Super Bowl. No, I'm not celebrating. I'm going to wait. When the clock strikes all zeros, that's when I celebrate.
Yeah, dude, 28-3, but you had that quarterback on your team, dude.
I'm just saying, man.
It's true.
Don't tempt the football gods. They are angry gods, okay? Don't.
But seriously.
No, it's all bullshit aside. This is what is Shaq saying? Play defense. Get in their face. Play hard. Don't worry about being called. See, anytime any team is known as a defensive team, the word dirty starts getting thrown around. That's because you can't beat them and you're pissed off, so you fucking accuse them of cheating. Every 5-year-old does that. Why are we listening to these idiots? You know, and the stat that sticks out that was just talked about on 97.1 was the fact that Steph Curry, if you look at how many multiple three-point games he's had, how many games he scored multiple three-point shots, he is far and away distanced from the rest of the pack. Is he that good, or is the era he playing in that soft? Because I don't think if he was playing against the Mailman and the Bad Boy Pistons and the 80s fucking Celtics that he'd be shooting as many uncontested threes as he does.
Right, but here's what I'm
not saying he wouldn't make the ones that he took, but they'd definitely be contested.
Steph Curry is the exception. He's not the rule. Just because he's that good of a shooter.
Okay, great. He's a pure shooter, but the point still stands is that when they were talking about it, and by the way, this was weeks ago, like maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit less, before the Shaq shit happened, before anyone was calling him soft, they were all talking about how soft everybody fucking plays defense in the NBA these days. And it's like, okay, we all know that. God damn it, I had a coworker who was born in 95, watched that Jordan documentary and was like, I see what you're saying now, man. It's best. Those Pistons teams, they basically just beat a motherfucker's ass on the court. I'm like, yes.
In a hurry.
Yeah. It's great. It was awesome.
It was wonderful. Let me tell you something that Mickey Redmond pointed out that's true. And this is something that sports owners and leagues, they don't want to realize. When a fight happens on the ice, no one's going to the bathroom or to refresh their drink. Okay? When a fight happened in the NBA back in the day, no one got up to use the bathroom or refresh their fucking drink. You can paint it any way you want. Truth is, people want to fucking watch guys at the top of their game who are competitive, not people who are at the top of their game because everyone's afraid to be competitive with them.
There is literally a whole league now where motherfuckers watch people fight.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's kind of silly. It's like, then just put them in a boxing ring. But I mean, if you're talking about the NHL fucking enforcer awards or whatever it's called, where they get all the best enforcers from the leagues and they have them go at each other, I'm like, just put them in a boxing ring. Like, right. It's not a hockey fight at that point. It's putting on a bunch of equipment to get into a fight on the ice. That's not a hockey fight. There's a difference there. But look, man, I think we all agree with Shaq. I mean, we've all said it. I mean, especially Earl and I, one of the reasons I don't watch the fucking NBA and one of the reasons that he's not as high on the NBA as he used to be is because of how fucking punk and pussy the fucking league's turned into. It's one of the reasons I hardly ever watch fucking regular season hockey. Case in point, I believe, I can't remember who the goalie for Nashville came behind the net to play the puck.
Is that
one of the opposing? I think so. One of the opposing team's players skated by, made contact with the goal.
Kicked his fucking skate.
Okay, and like now he's facing suspension and fine, and I'm like, it used to be if you were out of your fucking net, if you were out of that crease, you were fair fucking game.
Yeah, but it used to be who the fuck would touch that goalie because they knew the enforcer was coming out if they did.
Well, that's the other problem and this is something that happened a few seasons ago, before COVID, and we talked about it, where I believe it was Lundqvist got laid out, and three of his teammates, two defensemen and a forward, just stood there and watched their fucking goalie get laid the fuck out on the ice. And I'm just like, even in pickup hockey, you don't let that go. Like, that's a real fight. Like, bro, are you serious right now?
Did you just on purpose? And then come here. No, come here. Don't go for a line change. Come here.
No, that's like, okay, I gloves, stick. I'll take these skates off and kick the shit out of you. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Billy, or Happy Madison. With skate.
Like, because, I mean, dude, if you're playing a pickup game, like you're playing in the NHL, hey, you get paid to take the hits. You get paid to take the lumps. I get it. You're playing a pickup game, a friendly pickup game, and someone fucking runs your goalie. with ill intent. Bro, I'm sorry, do you think you're trying out for the NHL? Because you're not.
I have not played any pickup hockey since high school, and even I know, goalie's in the crease, tough shit. You leave him alone. Comes out of the crease, game on. But yeah, man, it's unwritten rule, right? Or isn't it a written rule?
It's a written rule. Yes, sir. It used to be.
I believe the rule now is if they come out to play the puck behind the net in the little trapezoid they have, that's their, like, safe space. Like, you can't touch them if they're in that little trapezoid shape that's on the ice behind the net. But it's like, you're out of the fucking net, you're out of the crease.
You're in the corner.
Yeah, you become a fucking player at that point. I mean, it's like if the goalie ran downfield and joined in on the play, because the other team was putting so much pressure on. Okay, well, you ain't playing your position, but you're still on the field.
We're talking home field. If that's true, all true. And if the goalie was out, he's fair game. The thing is Mike Vernon could skate out to the center ice, stand in the middle, and if anybody touched that motherfucker, you had 3 to 4 people on you before you even thought about going for a line change. You don't do it. But now they don't.
That's back in the day when coked up McCarty would come out of nowhere and fuck you up.
Now, let's be fair. It was Probert who had the coke problem. McCarty was a drunk.
True.
But I absolutely get your point. Yeah.
I full-heartedly agree with Shaq. They need to do something. It's not all because all it's become is if you can shoot the puck, if you could shoot the ball, if you can hit the ball, if you catch the ball, you win because defense is no more. Good defensive, hard defensive play is no more.
I mean, those days are gone, man.
Far gone.
And as much as we sit here and opine away about it, and oh boy, it was better. They're not coming back. That's just all there is to it. I mean,
that's just going to be our opinion, and they're going to do with what we left them. And okay, have at it. I have my opinion. You sorry sack of shit.
Exactly. I mean, it's I went through this on Unregimented the last episode. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not looking for consensus. I'm not in the mood. I don't care if you disagree with me. I can lay out factually from point A to point B how we got to where we're at. And all you can do is tell me that you disagree. And when I ask for more than that, you go, or I like the game better now. Okay, well, that's an opinion. It doesn't change the facts I laid out. Now, does it? It doesn't change the facts that the game is no longer. They have literally phased entire playing styles out of the game. I mean, there's no longer the enforcer. And, everybody, yay, good, more people who can get out there and play. Okay. Well, the problem is that now you got people taking liberties with your team and your teammates and your stars. And who's going to defend them? Is Crosby going to drop the gloves anytime someone runs his goalie? No. We have well over almost 2 decades worth of fucking proof of what Sidney Crosby is going to and not going to do. So who the fuck is going to... What are you going to do? It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't... They don't care, and sports will never be like this again as long as they're based and they make most of their money in America. Because the owners realize the more we let them fight, the more physical we let the game become, the higher risk we could all lose a superstar and our bottom line be affected. And that's all it is. They can pretty it up all they want. They had no problem for over 100 years letting guys play these games and destroy their bodies. So don't give me this bullshit and all of a sudden now they care about fucking the health. They care about the health of their players as long as they're signed to the contract to play for their team. But once that contract's over with and you retire, they don't give a fuck what happens to you.
How long can you generate revenue for us?
Exactly. That's what pisses me off about this, because they piss right in your open mouth and you're drinking their piss and they're going, hey, boy, that Gatorade tastes good, doesn't it? And it's like, no, it's piss, you cocksucker. It don't fucking taste good. And there's people that are more than happy to just let people piss in their mouths and go, this is something new. I haven't had this before. It's not good. In fact, it tastes disgusting, but what is it? Oh, well, that's my Gatorade, fresh from my tap, coming out at 98.6 degrees. Oh, well, thank you, sir. Fuck that. And we're a dying breed. We're the last. Our generation and a few vocal minorities. And no, I don't mean minorities as far as ethnicity or protected race. I'm talking, they're literally the minority. The few people who will speak up from younger generations that are like, this is bullshit. Who wants to watch this? And I mean, I know that the NBA's had problems off the court, had problems with, apparently fucking someone just told LeBron, shut up and dribble again. This time, another fucking athlete. And I get that the NBA doesn't have... NBA has decided to take its stand and made what side they're on very clear, and that's pissing off a lot of people. But you ain't getting the ratings you should be getting. What did football get during COVID? What did baseball get during COVID? What did fucking hockey get during COVID? And the NBA lost viewership during COVID?
Well, it's because they want to be the wokest league in the room, and they just come back to bite them in the ass.
Well, that's the problem, because you got maybe 1/5 of the fans tops are in the woke flake army and will just rubber stamp anything anyone does under the name of woke. But then you got people who just don't want politics in their shit, and that's probably about half of their fan base. Then you have fucking just people that are like, fuck this shit. I'm not down with this shit. And they take personal offense to it. And those are the ones, they ain't coming back. So tell me, how is this a good business model? Explain this to me.
Because it's what you guys said earlier in the podcast, Rich. When you're not fighting, when you're not putting up the good defensive effort, when it's just going left to right, and you're looking like a tennis match, left, right. Everybody gets bored and goes to the bathroom and gets concessions. That's their moneymaker. You don't have to sit and wait for the fight. You don't have to sit and watch and let me see the good defense. Let me see the hard hit. Let me see you can't, because you can't do it anymore. So now you're just there in support, not to wait and see what happens.
Well, you guys remember
the owners are making money hand over fist.
You guys remember the old trope about, Dodgers fans in LA show up in the middle of the fucking third inning, leave in the middle of the sixth. But I used to say this about the NBA all the time. You can show up at the beginning of the fourth fucking quarter and basically still fucking watch the most exciting part of the game. I mean, really, let's be honest here. How many people I've heard people, diehard basketball fans. When I was a child, these guys were in their 50s. So they were older than us now when I was a child. And they were telling me, how bullshit the league is and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just, well, there you go. From the mouths of people who've been around a lot longer, they saw it coming. But they don't. What'd you say on unregimented, Chris? Because you nailed it on the head. The corporations we've already put our buying patterns into place. Yeah. They're not worried about our money. They got to get the generations behind us money.
Yeah, advertising used to aim at the money. Now they aim at the age group before they get the money, so that when they do have the money, it's like drugs. It's like here. So by the time you get into the money demographic, your buying decisions are already made. It's yeah.
And let me tell you something. People are making in sports and entertainment and news and just anybody in the public. They've gotten very comfortable making these grand, sweeping statements and indictments of entire groups, or they'll make a passive-aggressive comment meant to piss people off. And then when the people get pissed off, they go, well, you're not welcome here anyways. And it's like, once again, how is this a good business model? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get running off your fan base. Okay, you want to implement rules to make the game more open offensively, make it harder to play defense, to make it downright illegal in the game to play hard defense. Okay, fine. You're already going to lose a percentage of people who don't want to follow the sport then. Okay, now you're going to come out and now you're going to fucking make sweeping generalizations and have players, talking shit about the U.S. that black people are being hunted in the streets in the United States. Yet when China opens its fucking mouth with their horrific fucking history of human right violations, they don't got shit to say because that's where they get the most of their fucking money from, because that's most of the companies that give them their goddamn fucking contracts, like Nike and shit. They got to suck China's dick, because if they don't get slave labor to make their goddamn $300 shoes. See, this is... Do these sports organizations not realize that some people are plugged in and can, like, understand how outside things that upon immediate viewing don't look like they have anything to do with sports, but how they affect sports? Like, I don't understand, because it seems to be this very binary left-right 1-2 thinking, and meanwhile we live in the gray-ass world we live in.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that NBA thing. I remember having the thought, like, so are you into human rights? Are you not into human rights? Are you only into the rights for the humans that you care about?
Bingo. You got it. No, absolutely right there. It's the same shit with, like, that Greta Thunberg or whatever the fuck, that fetal alcohol syndrome fucking bitch, who comes out with, the Western world's all so horrible, pollution, climate change. Bitch, you didn't say a goddamn word about China, and they're the worst polluters on the planet. Why is that? And no one asks these questions.
Also, her parents are loaded. Like, no one brings that up either.
But no one asks these questions. And when you do, you're shouted down. It doesn't matter. Why does it matter? Who cares? Or you're laughed at. See, that's the thing that's going to start getting people to start spitting teeth, because people have forgotten, especially I think over the last year, that just because you're in front of a keyboard and when you talk shit and you feel you're protected, doesn't mean you can go talk shit in public. And you start fucking talking shit and laughing in people's faces who are presenting facts to you and dismissing them out of hand. And we've seen how quick shit can escalate when people's tempers are fucking on edge. And I would go ahead and say people's tempers are on edge. This is going to start some shit. That's something else we haven't even talked about. When they closed sports down almost a year ago, we were divided as a country, about as divided as we thought we could get. We're way worse now. What happens when the first motherfucker shows up wearing a MAGA hat and gets jumped? What happens when the first person's got a Biden shirt on and gets jumped? I mean, you want to mix politics into your business by the way, your business can completely survive and thrive without politics. These are things that you have to take into consideration. And no one's even brought this shit up. If you're gonna slap a bunch of people who've been at each other's throats for when this is all over with, at least going on 2 years online all together in a fucking enclosed environment, and give them booze, okay, because that's going to go well. There'll be no problems.
By the way, the same people that fight over the different color jerseys.
Yeah, right.
Like, if you wear a rival jersey in some stadiums, you're lucky if you make it out.
By the way, if you're wearing a political shirt to a sporting event, you're probably an asshole. You're probably a blast at parties.
Oh, you're an asshole. You're an insufferable cocksucker, probably. And people should avoid you like a fucking a needle dump behind an AIDS clinic. Yeah, why the fuck would they? I mean, but it's the same thing with this. Okay, we're going to protest this. We're going to protest this. We're going to protest this. And if you don't agree with the protest or you don't agree with what we say, then you're not welcome here. We don't need you. People are starting to learn. Stop giving money to people who don't like you, period. It's been made abundantly clear by all four fucking major sports organizations in this country what they side with. All right? And if you're cool with it, cool. If you're not, don't give them your fucking money, period. End of story. And by the way, you're not going to change the world by not giving them your money. You're just going to feel better and sleep better at night if that's what you really want to do.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's it. But I know this. If someone was constantly fucking running me down and talking shit about me, why would I hand them my hard-earned cash? What sense does that make? Why do I want to fucking support? Why do I want to buy an athlete's jersey who makes sweeping generalizations about my fucking race or ethnicity?
I think the NBA is finding that out.
Funny thing. Rich, if I said the name Nikolai Jokic, where do you think he was born?
Nikolai Jokic?
Yeah.
Judging by the amount of consonants, Eastern Europe somewhere that used to be part of Russia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Eastern Europe, Russia, somewhere like that.
Yeah, because Shaq also said that he was Russian, and he got all bent out of shape and told Shaq he's from fucking Serbia. Russia. You're fucking over there by Russia. Shut up.
Technically, Serbia was part of Yugoslavia, but still, yeah, it's Eastern European.
I mean, look, athletes aren't going to shut up. They've been empowered, so whoever told LeBron, shut up and dribble. I get it. I understand, especially if you aren't a political athlete and you're being dragged into this shit because of shit that someone in another because this was a fucking soccer player over in Europe that said this, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it wasn't a personal attack either. LeBron was an example. The whole point of his quote was, "It's not our area of expertise." So when you try to talk about something that's not your area of expertise, sometimes you can sound like an idiot. That was really that's really what he said. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but
where's the lie, though?
Right? And he even went as far to say that he did it early in his career, and he looks back on it, and he feels like an idiot for doing it, which LeBron, I guess, didn't get to that part of the article, because LeBron, when he went on his rant of, I will not stick to sports, part of LeBron's rant was, well, he did it too. It's like, well, yeah, you kept reading LeBron, he did it too, and he said, and I feel like an idiot for doing it.
Well, I mean, look, you're not going to get through to someone like LeBron, because someone like LeBron is convinced that he had this upbringing, apparently, where he was there was a target on his back, and apparently every time he stepped out of his house, crazy fucking Klansmen were fucking setting up sniper's nest on every fucking block to shoot him or some shit. I mean, whatever the fuck he thinks, it's like, bro, you were crowned before you even fucking got 2 years through high school.
Isn't he from the suburbs? And yeah, isn't he been getting his balls rubbed since he was 12 years old? Most people don't go through that, buddy.
Yeah, so take into consideration who you're hearing this shit from, and treat them accordingly.
I mean, that's always my rub too when he talks about, going through the experiences that a black man goes through. I'm like, dude, you don't even live the life of some white people. What the fuck are you talking about? You live in a gated community.
Where I get to go ICE.
Right. You live in a gated community. You've been a billionaire since you were 19. What other white person has had the same experience as you?
See, but that's the problem. Because you go back to that and you try to have that conversation, and the minute you bring up race, you're a racist. The minute they bring up race, they're woke. So you can't win. And that's the position that all this, the last decade, maybe 15 years, all these movements and positioning and fucking Machiavellian machinations that all these people have, we're now starting to see the fruits of this labor blossom. Because reality doesn't figure into anything for these people anymore. It's what I feel.
Let me put this into a little perspective of what this is causing for the listeners, though. Rich, if I said the names Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, do you know all of those names?
Ooh.
Okay. Do you know the name, obviously, Scottie Pippen, Joe Dumars? You know those names.
Yes, you're naming 30-year-old basketball players. Go on.
Okay, so now if I said LeBron James, you know him. You know he plays for LA. If I said Steph Curry, you know him. He plays for Golden State. But if I come at you, Rich, and I say, well, like I just said, Nikolai Jokic, who does he play for?
Yeah, you're asking, dude. You might as well ask just random person off the street. That's
okay.
You know, I don't know, and I don't care.
Do you know who Joel Embiid is?
Used to play for the 76ers. I don't know if he still does. Okay. I thought he. Okay. Last I heard, he was arguing he wanted or bitching he wanted to be traded or something. That's the last I heard.
What about Jason Tatum? Do you know who he plays for?
Nope.
Do you know who Kyle Lowry plays for?
Nope.
Jeez, that's where we're getting. Okay,
all these guys we named are considered top tier right now too, Rich. They're considered like some of the best in the game. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I figured that part of what's going on, I think, that gets lost in this conversation, that has nothing to do with just outside bullshit seeping into sports and people getting sick of it and taking their ball and going home, is the fact that we now have a device we carry on in our pocket, our phone, that filters the world through the lens we choose to see it.
Yep.
Everything is specifically geared towards us. If I can go on Yahoo Sports, on ESPN, the Sporting News website, whatever, sign up and never see an NBA alert, but get every alert for every other sport that I want. Whereas back in the day, I had to sit down and watch fucking SportsCenter from front to back. There wasn't no DVR. If you were lucky, you could record it, but why record it when it's just going to repeat at the top of the hour?
Or if you want to go real old school, you had to open up the sports section and look through it.
That too. But I mean, things are so compartmentalized and specialized now that unless you seek it out, you can basically live your life and not hear about this shit. And that's what the NBA's turned into. I was not joking. I 100% mean this. When Allen Iverson retired, I stopped giving a fuck about the NBA. That was the last warrior in the NBA as far as I was concerned. The rest of them a bunch of fucking prima donnas. Don't touch me. I don't want to get fucking... Don't fuck with me. Don't mess up my fade. Don't mess up my fucking this. Make sure you got my tattoos on camera. Don't give a fuck. Prima donnas, man. Prima fucking donnas.
Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey dated July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
El nuevo Crispy Chicken Sandwich de McDonald's es crujiente, tiernito, jugoso. Es pollo en McDonald's. Un mordisco y... ¡wow! Es el nuevo Crispy Chicken Sandwich. Ordena por anticipado en el app de McDonald's. En McDonald's participantes.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
At NJM Insurance, making our customers happy is what makes us number one. J.D. Power ranked us first in the nation for customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience. Get award-winning service at njm.com. This isn't just insurance, it's NJM.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
Everybody except the NFL, almost every other league, is fallen victim to that. People have no clue who the new it is. They have no clue who the number one players are. I was watching ESPN, and they were talking about the mid-season MVP and the mid-season Defensive Player of the Year and the mid-season Rookie of the Year and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I never heard of that motherfucker. And, you know, I'm just curious how many other people who followed the NBA like I did, or how I used to, and now, you know, somehow the number one teams are places like Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns. Like, wait, what happened? You know, and that has carried over through leagues, that has carried over into the MLB, NHL, every place but the NFL. Everybody still knows what's going on in the NFL, for the most part. Still knows all the big names.
Well, because you know what? Let's be honest about it. With all bullshit aside, the NFL, if you think about it, we bitch about Raj and all this. The NFL really always concentrates and makes sure they have a good product.
Yes, they do. And it just that's where all of this woke flake nonsense, when the league gives it its due, that's where it carries you. You don't only lose your viewership, you lose complete fucking interest in the league. To where if something big does happen, like Rich was saying that they were going to trade their captain on a hockey team, and it's like, most people don't even know the captain's fucking name. That's insane.
I mean, I think part of this, we need to pump the brakes here. Part of this, because we do this quite frequently, and whatever it is warranted to a certain amount. But we're also, dude, all three of us, real life has done kicked in, homeboy. Okay. 2 of us are fucking married. One person married someone with a kid. So you got a ready-made family. No matter how old the kid is, believe me, that kid ain't going nowhere. All right. So you got a ready-made family. You got all the bullshit that comes with getting old, all the bullshit that comes with work, all this. We're not working fucking at McDonald's part-time and watching fucking 5 hours of goddamn Sports Center in the morning anymore. We're not doing that. That's a young man's game. That's for guys in their early 20s who wake up and they go, okay, so what's my job today? Well, I don't work, so my job is to get drunk and try to get my dick wet. I mean, dude, we're kind of...
Well, Sports Center's also got to be... That's been worth watching in the morning for years. I like a morning football. That's just me.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is that, but... And there is and this is just a local issue. I don't know what the fuck's going on or if it's resolved. If it is, I haven't heard anything about it. But the Hulu, if you have live TV, and that's how you had to pay for live TV from Hulu to be able to fucking watch live sports, blah, blah, blah. And now they don't even have the fucking Pistons and the Red Wings and the Tigers on. Well, why the fuck am I, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not the time. You understand that people are locked in their houses, right? You have a captive audience. It's not the time to start getting greedy about charging a cable provider more for your fucking shit when you're trying to get it in front of as many people as possible. Because let's be honest, that's another thing. The entertainment dollar is stretching thin, and sports for most people definitely fall in the entertainment category. It's not a necessity. I don't think that's being brought up either. I mean, dude, we're not the guys seriously, Chris, even if the Red Wings make it to the fucking Cup Finals, are you going to pack up your wife and go down fucking town and go downtown and party to be down there? Are you going to go down and fight crowds and shit like that if you don't have tickets?
No, not at all. Absolutely not.
But you know what?
Okay, but wait, Chris, let me ask you a rebuttal question, though. Let me ask you a rebuttal question, though, Chris. If the Red Wings won the Cup, would you know the goalie and the captain of your hockey team?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Everyone loves a winner. I mean, we've said that a million times on this show.
Captain Dylan Larkin, goalie Jonathan Bernier. What's so hard about that?
Okay, hockey fan.
I'm just saying. I mean, the Red Wings did play almost 2 seasons without a captain. It was kind of a big deal when he was named captain. I mean, just saying. I understand if you're not living here, Earl, but still.
No, Rich, you brought up a great point. Sports is not a huge expense for people anymore. It used to be a getaway. It used to be a quiet time for the man. It used to be, so much. And now it's not. Now, we got home improvements to make. Now we got dogs to walk. Now we got Little League to go to, and not so much into sports anymore. But they make it easier to get away from it. That's the hard part for them.
I think
they make it so easy to go away from.
It's probably 3 people I can tell you off the top of my head that will put on any Tigers baseball game and leave it on from when they turn it on until it's over with. I know 3 people that used to do that. Now, granted, the Tigers aren't as good as they were for that stretch, but even during that stretch, I topped out maybe 5-7 people that would do that. I mean, so the hardcore fans, you're not losing. Hardcore fans aren't going anywhere no matter what. All right? But I don't think sports has as many hardcore fans as they think. And I think football, because it is America's game, it is uniquely American, and to a certain type of person that appeals. I don't know why. It doesn't make I don't care where a sport was created, as long as it's being played well. Why should I care who created it? But some people that matters. But dude, the Super Bowl is huge news outside of sports. A week before the Super Bowl, ask anybody who is at least somewhat engaged with the world around them, and I guarantee you they know it. They can tell you when it is and when it's coming up.
And probably at least one team.
And half the time, I'm shocked by this. Women who have no interest in sports, girlfriends and wives over the years, boy, they can tell you what city it's in. I don't know why, but they can. Oh, yeah, they're in Tampa this year. How the fuck did you know that? They moved it even. How the fuck did you know that? Like,
it's a benchmark for women. They get their husbands back on Sunday.
But no, I mean, football has taken over as king. There's no doubt about it. They've done a great job of making it a year-round sport. How much off time is there in the football really anymore? Because the trade rumors start the minute the regular season ends, before they've even played one down of a fucking playoff game. You know, then you got free agency, then the combine, then the draft, off-season fucking... They've turned off-season training into an event. That's how good football is at marketing.
Yeah, I think the only true off-season is like the draft to training camp, when you really get a lull in news.
And even then, if you are a hardcore football fan, you're following the moves that your team at least is making for cap room, who they're going to, are they going to sign their lower draft picks? Are they worth signing? Is there any undrafted people worth signing? Shit like that. I know people that
plays too on waivers.
People that are deep into that shit. I used to be deep in. That's how deep I was into hockey. Man, I probably read more hockey news in the offseason than I did when the season was going, because it's the only way I could get my fix back in the day. And I knew players coming up that other people hadn't fucking heard of. I knew who Charo was before fucking anybody in my circle of friends did. I was like, you ain't seen this motherfucker that the Islanders drafted? He's like 6'9". Like, motherfucker makes Shaq look small. He looks like a Russian genetic experiment. Like he looks like he needs to sound like fucking Andre the Giant. Anybody want a pickle? I mean, like, dead serious, man.
6'9" before he got on skates, yeah.
You know, it was, 3 years before Crosby was even fucking eligible for the draft, and I went to a party, and I saw a guy wearing a fucking a Hartford Whalers fucking hat, and I was like, holy shit, the whale, you don't see that. I'm like, so is it fashion, or do you actually... He's like, no, I'm a hardcore hockey fan, man, blah, blah, blah. And we sat down and talked, and he's like, you got to hear about this guy, Sidney Crosby, blah, 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 he's coming, blah, blah, blah. He's going to break all of Gretzky's records, which, of course, ain't going to happen, but whatever. And I was like, first of all, that ain't happening. Second of all, he can't be as great as you're saying. If he's better than Gretzky, I would have heard of him. Like period. I had heard rumblings of this goal scorer in Russia named Ovechkin before he made it into the NHL, okay? I mean, and
the funny part about Crosby is he didn't break Gretzky's record, and it's a way easier league than when Gretzky played. Figure that out for yourself.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, go back and watch, if you, just for shits and giggles, go watch one of those 80s games, like Red Wings and Oilers, and look at the score. 7-5. And there's 120 penalty minutes in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is possible to play at a high level and still be physical in hockey. They just don't want to do it. But whatever. But no, I'm with you. Like, that's why if I was doing this show and I was 23, it wouldn't say half-ass sports fans at the front. In fact, it wouldn't say sports fans because I'd probably just be like, I'm going to talk hockey, and that's all I'm going to talk. The rest of y'all fucking sit here and talk these bullshit sports. But, over the years, I learned to appreciate other sports, blah, 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 blah. Rediscovered my love of baseball, got into pro football. But it doesn't, like, maybe it's us, guys. Maybe we're just old. Maybe this shit not consuming our lives is what happens. So maybe...
I thought that too. Maybe it's just the age of Aquarius, but it isn't.
Yeah, no, because when football season's on, no, I'm full in. Like, so...
You would be an exception. I would never say that you're disengaged because you play way too many fucking fantasy sports, dude.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know about the players, you know those fucking stats. You know what team they play for, who's they're coming up against. I mean, dude, you're a stats guy.
I'm currently 10-0 in fantasy basketball. I'm 4-2 in fantasy hockey.
There you go.
No, I thought it was Age of Aquarius shit, though, but it isn't. I mean, they just don't have the promotions they used to. They don't have the hype. It just isn't there anymore.
It's not fun to watch. I'll tell you that with the NBA, it's not fun to watch. When it's just a 3-point competition, or here you go, sir, here's your lane to the basket. What the fuck are we doing?
And I mean to be brutally honest, man, that's you want to watch the exciting part of a basketball game? Watch the last 2 minutes if it's close. That's really all you need.
That's what I was saying at the beginning of the show. If you could shoot now, you win. Yay for you. Back in the day, they made it, you've got to see this match. Jordan and Barkley come in center court, be there Saturday night at 8. I'm like, fuck yeah, I am. You don't know. What's going to break out, the Avalanche and Red Wings. In 96 happened with the fight, and then in 97 you were like, I am not missing this rematch.
They waited to what was it, April 1st, the last regular season game they played, to have the fucking brawl. Because they were like, well, the last time we're going to meet, unless we meet in the playoffs, let's get this over with. And that's when Osgood whooped Waz's ass. And it's like, dude, Osgood with his abnormally pink wiener whooping your ass, that's just wrong.
In many ways.
He's not that big of a guy in the first place. He's like, what, 5'7", 5'8", tops?
Yeah, he's itty-bitty.
Yeah.
But nowadays, they don't have it. I mean, even in NASCAR, they had rivalries. Dirty Dale. Dude,
Richard Petty. I'm glad you brought it up, because I want to bring this up, because, one, I know I'm going to get a very skewed perspective. I'm getting it through the Earl filter, but that's fine. But I just got to ask, are they trying to go with like a kinder, gentler NASCAR all of a sudden? Because it seems like they're pushing this like solidarity with drivers, and I'm just like, wait, what? Isn't the point you get out there to beat the shit out of the other guy to where he either can't finish the race or you beat him? Like, what is this?
The quick answer is yes. Yes, they are going with that.
And I'm not talking along racial lines either. I'm just talking like across the board.
NASCAR has suffered the same thing as every other league. The young pups are coming in. All right, people like Chase Elliott and them are coming in, and they just have a different mentality they were raised with than people like Dirty Dale. And that's how they race now. It's flat out, I can move this car better than you, and I can prove it. Not, you know what, the car might not be worth it, but come here. Get out of my way. Did you cut me off, motherfucker? I'm going to get you loose, put you in the wall. They don't have that mentality. They have the mentality of, I could do this better, and I'm going to prove it. Probably because my mom said so, but here I come. If you watch anything pertaining to NASCAR promotions, they'll always talk about the young buck and the young kids that are now in the driver's seats. And at one point, the Race for the Chase was all types of young kids. But they still have their bad people. You know, Kyle Busch is the fans' favorite to hate because he does run like old school. He will get you loose. And if you wind up on a wall, well, that's too damn bad. Learn how to drive.
Yeah, because that's the attitude I remember.
Yeah,
my life.
Right. If you can't recover from a spin, you had no business behind a wheel. But, you know, people still love to hate people like that. And there are a few people like that. Denny Hamlin is a well-known one. Tony Stewart used to be the leading driver like that until he killed somebody, and then smoke went out.
I mean, there you go. And, you know, to speak of what Chris had brought up, you know what? Maybe we're just irrelevant, man. Maybe it is a smart move for companies and sports organizations to start aiming at the younger generations because, well, their money's going to be around a lot longer, just on average. And I mean, if this is what they want, then fucking give them what they want, right? I mean,
basically what I said is we gave them a great world and they fucked it up. So I have my opinion, but I'll keep it to myself. I ain't going to change it, and I ain't going to change their minds. So let them go do with what they want to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Good luck then. Enjoy that.
When it comes to the NFL, we'll still have the Super Bowl. I watch that. When it comes to NASCAR racing, you know, in Daytona and Talladega, it's not a matter of if you're going to have the big wreck; it's a matter of when. And I watch those. I don't care who's driving the damn car. You can't not have a wreck at those two racetracks. You just can't. But you know, in between time and in the meantime, whatever they want to do with the sport, let them have it. They're fucking it up, but, you know, it's for them.
Well, you did bring up earlier that I had mentioned you got an NHL team who appears to be wanting to shop their captain around. It's Buffalo. Jack Eichel is their captain. And there's an article on Sportsnet about it. It basically breaks down some interesting points about just the nature of trades in the NHL these days compared to before. Okay, so they're 6 weeks out from the trade deadline. I'm just going to read from the article once again from Sportsnet. Normally, there might be plenty of time for more space to separate the standings for teams to break off into their tiers, but there are a few different factors at play this season that can make it not so simple. Since you only play within your division, it's not as hard to make up ground during a hot streak. In Canada, for instance, while the Calgary Flames struggle and face a host of questions to do with their core's identity, a need for change and a lack of urgency, it's maybe not time to throw in the towel and become a hard seller yet. They're just 3 points back of Montreal for fourth, granted with 2 more games played, but the Habs are also going through hard times of their own. They play each other a couple times next week, and if the Flames can recover first, things may not be so bad again. So it makes it kind of hard to make a trade from the aspect of you don't want to throw out your season until you absolutely have to. And you can make up, obviously, because you only play your division, like they said, make up your lost ground a lot easier. But I mean, that's got teams already fucking like, okay, leery about making big moves like this. And then you got, the quarantine's a real issue that may force teams to make their trade calls earlier than usual. There will no doubt be some deadline day deals anyways, but especially for cross-border trading, the real deadline may actually fall earlier in March, so an acquired player will be able to play more than a handful of games with his new team before playoffs. And that's what I was getting at with the whole, they restructured the NHL for this season. You're in Canada, you only play Canada. That's because of Canada's mandates for COVID. So that means that if Canada trades away a player wherever they go, whatever state they go to, if they come to an American team, obviously they have to follow their recommendations or the team's whatever. But going into Canada from being traded to a Canadian team, yeah, how's that going to work? You can't have it. You can't put everybody on pause for fucking 2 weeks while they isolate.
No. It's a sore subject. I've been quiet for a few minutes because I've been finding out, like, these guidelines are fucked up. My wife can go back to work Monday, right? She's the one who had it. I didn't have it. I have to wait 10 days from 2 days from now before I can go back to work. How the fuck does that work? So I get what you're saying, Rich. Like, how is this going to work if someone gets traded to Canada, so the Canadian teams don't play for 2 weeks because that's the rules we've laid down?
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So I mean, you're going to have GMs get very creative, and I mean, it's also it's not just a matter of the teams who want to trade to bring in people. It's the teams like, I don't know, Red Wings, who absolutely suck, who brought players in this year with the intent of, if they do continue to suck, they can at least move them at the trade deadline and get some draft capital or something. But this is going to affect everything, and this is not just one of these things that's going to affect this season. The ripples from this is going to reverberate out for many seasons, because the history of any sport is littered with the trades that could have happened. I mean, at one point after the 94-95 season, the Red Wings were going to trade Yzerman to Ottawa for Alexander Daigle. That would have changed the whole fucking trajectory of the Red Wings fucking cup runs. I mean, now
I thought it was for Ron Francis, but okay.
No, it was for Daigle up in Ottawa, and it's like, we really didn't talk about it much, but I've heard a lot of talk in sports circles about how any season that a sport has had that was affected by COVID needs to have an asterisk. And I was kind of like, really? I mean, baseball, it was a truncated season. Okay, I guess, whatever. But, in hockey, it was an interrupted season with basically a made up on the spot playoff, play-in situation. The NFL soldiered on. And if you had a player that tested for COVID, they treated it just like you had an injured player. Put them on the IRR, bring someone from the practice squad. What do you want from us? You deal with injuries in football every day. This is no different. And I almost feel like that's kind of the way to deal with it. I mean, because who had the most legitimate season out of all the sports, including college sports?
NFL.
There you go.
It was uninterrupted. The only thing that didn't happen was the preseason. The regular season.
I was about to say, yeah. And it's not like the owners, or not the owners, but the players haven't, and well, I guess some owners haven't been saying for a while now, can we just add a regular season game or two and cut down on the preseason? I mean, we're still playing the same amount of games, but Yeah,
there's a rumor that this next season might have 17 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, like, people are going to use this to their advantage, obviously, and if it, because of COVID, a situation arises that presents itself that says, hey, we could get an extra game in, cut down on the preseason. Yeah, sure, whatever. But still, that's not a major, that's not affecting the sport and the day-to-day running of a sports team like this shit is. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no out-of-country football tems. Well, I mean, unless you want to consider unless you want to consider San Francisco a shithole country on its own.
I mean, there's just been that rumor for years that as soon as that lease is up in Duval County, Jacksonville's in London.
That's where their owner's from. I mean, and Jacksonville certainly has spent a lot of time overseas playing games, and I'm like, they can't have that big of a draw at Wembley Stadium.
Minus this season, I mean, there's been the NFL London games for 5 years?
Oh, more than that. I think the first one I remember was early 2000s. It was like a 9:00 in the morning game or some shit.
And they keep doing those Mexico City games. So I mean, they're testing the waters.
But as of right now, you're not crossing an international border in a trade with any NFL team.
Yeah,
and that's what makes the difference. I mean, you have the Blue Jays. They're not playing in Canada. They're not playing in Toronto. They're playing on the American side, somewhere in Buffalo. At least last I heard. What the fuck is the NBA doing with the Raptors? That's what I want to know. How are they playing?
I think they're playing in Atlanta.
Yes,
they moved. So they moved them. Okay, yes. All right. So, I mean, maybe we do need to fucking consider like some asterisks on this shit because and I mean, especially if 2 full seasons for all sports except for maybe football, and even then 2 seasons of no one in the stands, I got to believe they're taking some sort of hit on their bottom line. But, I mean, this is going to affect salary caps. So that's everybody but the MLB. This is going to affect, how players are drafted, the college players themselves. I mean, like, we look at college football and college basketball because that's the minor leagues essentially for those leagues. I mean, basically. And we're not even thinking about hockey, baseball. There's players that are sitting there going, do I go to college or do I sign this pro contract and try to work my way up from high A ball to professional? Well, right now, if your goal is to play in the MLB, what's the point of going to college? Join that, sign that contract and take your shot, because if you go to college, there's no guarantee that you're going to get the benefit of 4 full years or whatever the fuck you spend there, because shit, they just scrubbed fucking entire seasons last year in college sports. Was there even a college World Series?
Oh, that thing's in April? Oh, fuck no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the NCAA hockey tournament didn't happen.
March Madness?
I mean,
nope. Oh, but they figured it out for this year.
Well,
they did.
Hey, they watched those billions fly away, and we're like, that's only going to be a one-time thing.
Well,
we're not doing this 2 years in a row.
Well, yeah. This show has taught us all this talk about college football. That tournament is what makes the NCAA most of their money.
Oh yeah, big time.
We have learned that is a big piece of the money pie for that whole organization.
Yeah, and instead of the All-Star Weekend for NBA, it's the All-Star Sunday.
Yeah, and then too, did the mayor of Atlanta come out and was like, don't come to it. Like, we don't want it. Like, fuck you.
Pretty much.
So when people do come, you're going to just turn down their tax dollars? Hey, no, don't come. You're here for the NBA All-Star Game? Don't spend money in Atlanta. Get the fuck out of here. No.
That's like getting a blowjob from an ugly lady. You're like, no, stop. No, no.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes.
Meanwhile, you're laying back.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes to get your mouth off my dick, you ugly bitch.
But when I hear stuff like that, it's like, okay, I get it. You're on the left. Congratulations. But commerce is going to commerce.
Well, see, right there. Then again, there again. Who cares if politics get in your sports? Because it's not a matter of seeing, it takes us all painted on the fucking field, or, stop racism on the boards. No, now it's like we've politicized a virus to the point where I can tell you most likely what political party you support based on your stance on the virus.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. Look, and here, there's motherfuckers, I might do a show with them, that are terrified to leave their fucking house. And I'm just like, then you do you. I can't live that way. I cannot live that way. Okay? Yes, I have somewhat of a safety net. But that safety net's going away here soon. And then what do I do? Because panhandling on the corner ain't going to fucking, even if I make 5 times what I did when I actually worked a legit job, that ain't good for nobody, right?
Yeah.
That's violating all types of social distancing rules.
Hey, man, I just got a new job, and I leave the house every day. Because guess what? I'm getting paid to. Because the electric
company,
they don't take IOUs.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like, I would not go to, like, some goddamn 3-day festival where you're packed nuts to butts. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, to me, that's ridiculous. Until I hear experts who aren't pushing a fucking agenda and are just speaking on, there's never zero risk. Bill Maher said it on his last episode. There's never zero risk. There never was zero risk. We live so comfortably, we've convinced ourselves that when we leave the house, we're safe. We're not. You could die at any minute. And that's just life. And that's, a lot of people seem to need to learn to learn that lesson. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the name your price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Your home is more connected than ever. So when one kid is schooling the competition,
got it.
The other is getting schooled.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
And you're streaming a webinar for work and the latest episode of your favorite show at the same time. Shh. Your Wi-Fi needs to be able to handle it. That's why Xfinity never stops working to bring you faster, more reliable Wi-Fi. So you can do it all at the same time. Xfinity, the future of awesome. Learn more at Xfinity.com.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
You know who else has a new job? J.J. Watt.
Yeah. A good defense just got better.
And the
I'm
person
looking at
crying
it as,
about that, you know, the person crying about that fucking acquisition the most? Russell Wilson, as he looks at the shattered remnants of his fucking offensive line and goes, God damn it.
Because even old and busted J.J. Watt is still pretty fucking good.
I just see it as just that. He's going to waste away the rest of his career like Larry Fitzgerald. He's just going to get paid now.
What do you mean Larry waste? Larry's been there. What do you mean? Larry's been there the whole time.
Right, but he's just staying there now just to get paid. He's not.
They're paying him to stay there. What the fuck would you move if they're going to keep paying you? Why the fuck would you?
Larry. On top of that, he actually made a Super Bowl more than the Lions have ever done.
Larry knows his days of wide receiver one are over, and he's just happy to still be at the party with this team that he's been with the whole time. Why you can't talk shit about Larry like that? Come on, man.
I'm just saying it's no big, huge move for them to get Watt. Nothing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely it is. They're at least going to the playoffs next year. They're not going to have to do this play-in game shit like they had to do this year.
Do I hear a double or nothing bet?
Well,
can't be double or nothing if I already paid you, by the way.
Here's what I think is funny. He leaves, and because obviously, I'm glad you brought this up because it slipped my mind. What the fuck is going on with that dumpster fire in Houston? He leaves Houston.
Just that. It's a dumpster fire.
Okay, so this is what I've understood. Add to it if I leave anything out. The front office is incompetent. They hired a coach, gave him GM fucking abilities. He traded away their best player, or one of their best players, pissed off the rest, so they fired him. Now there's this mass exodus that or not mass exodus, but there's you have Watson saying he wants to be fucking traded. I'm hearing scuttlebutt that the Houston team is refusing to trade him, and now it's turned all racial. Well, Matthew Stafford got his fucking trade request. This player got his trade request. Why am I not getting mine? It's because I'm black. And so I'm like, oh, that's got to be good for fucking morale in the locker room.
Which considering your number one defensive guy was white, and he's gone.
Well, also I'm with him till he goes there because, dude, they just backed up the Brinks truck for you in the off season. Like, what they want to get a little bit of their investment back, dipshit. It's not because you're black. It's because they just paid you a whole bunch of money. Stafford's whole bunch of money was like 4 years ago.
Well, the rumor mill is that Russell Wilson asked for a trade too, and the further rumor is Seattle was like, and so.
Same reason.
Oh, look at this. They hold on to their black play. It's like, is that really it? Or is it because these, like you said, they just signed into a contract? And, oh, yeah, by the way, the big trade, obviously, that was out there has already been taken by the Lions. You're not going to get what you got for fucking Stafford for Watson. They've already made their fucking trade.
I don't know.
There's something. No. Hold on. Let me make my point, though. I'm not saying he's not worth it. I don't think there's any teams willing to pay that fucking no. If they think they're going to get what they got for Stafford for Watson, I think that ship has sailed. Maybe if they'd have made that offer before Detroit did to LA, I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, that was a trade that rocked the NFL. That was like, holy shit.
Dude,
yeah,
he's
really was really overpaid for Stafford.
Good.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. If you're a Lions fan, it's good.
Very
but what
good.
I'm saying is, and Detroit, for all their fucking missteps and fuck-ups forever, have, they've actually fleeced two teams now on trades. They got the better of that trade with fucking LA just by the draft picks, because essentially they just swapped first overall picks and then got three draft picks on top of it. Yep. And that trade with Roy Williams to Dallas back in the day. They got half the fucking they got like 4 Dallas draft picks. One of them a first rounder for Roy Williams. Those trades don't come along every day. That's the point I'm making.
They did well.
And Deshaun Watson thinks that there's a team out there that's going to give a first overall draft pick plus 2 or 3 more draft picks for him.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone who is hurting for a quarterback and has that draft capital and the player to trade. That's my point.
Carolina.
Yep.
You get who? Bridgewater?
You get Bridgewater and trade picks.
Bridgewater's going somewhere else I saw this week. But no, they got a couple of they have an embarrassment of riches at receiver. They can afford to get rid of one of them.
Well, that leaves Houston in a position of they have no quarterback. But they got the weapons, and that's the reverse of how you want to build that shit. You want to get your fucking quarterback that you're like, we're set at that position unless an act of God happens. Now we start building his weapons, right? I mean, very rarely does the Tom Brady go, I want to play for your team out of the blue happen. That's what I'm saying? Like that. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm getting at. And I'm not saying Watson's not a good player. I think he's probably one of the top 3 up-and-coming quarterbacks.
He goes to
I said that into the league. That cat can flat out play.
He goes to a good team. He's in the playoffs immediately next season. That's how good he is. Okay.
I heard that Deshaun Jackson, or not Deshaun Jackson, but Baltimore and Jackson are having problems, and if that's, the rumor is he's inquired about, could I be traded? Could that be swap those 2 guys and some draft picks to Houston? Would you go for that if you were one of those teams?
Ooh, DJ and Jackson on the same team. That could be something. Because who do you cover?
I mean, I'm just
you got issues.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to have a team who wants to you can't. You give them fucking wide receivers. Who's throwing to them? Chad Henne? You gonna blow the dust off him? I mean, I don't even know if he's. I know he's still in the league, but I don't know who he plays for. Last time I heard it was
Kansas City. Remember
Henne? He was backup. Yeah.
Remember anything is possible.
Anything's possible. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, it's like, and
but look, there's a lot of people moving though. It's not just Watson and Lamar Jackson.
You won't see Cam Newton in Foxborough next year.
No, a lot of people say Jimmy G's going home. That'd be something to watch.
Great, he can not play a full season in Massachusetts like that. The Jimmy G's problem since he's been the number 1 guy, he can't stay healthy.
Right, and a lot of people. You guys mentioned Russell Wilson. A lot of people are saying he's going to New Orleans.
That has been a hot and heavy rumor. But I also just read that New Orleans just made a whole bunch of cap room space for Captain Crab Legs. So,
yeah, that could be a lie.
I mean, dude,
that came through while we were doing the show.
Let's be honest.
No, I'm saying that could be a lie. They could be like, "Oh, we're making a lot of room for Captain Crab Legs over here."
Yeah, like look over here while we're doing this over here. Yeah,
right. That's like somebody coming out and going, "He's our coach. We're sticking with him." Oh shit, he's gone.
Well, dude. First of all, that's you. All right, sure. You want to give Winston fucking starter money and try that experiment again? Sure. Glad it's not with my team. There's no way I'd fucking make him my starting quarterback and try to build, unless I'm looking to tank a season. I mean, that's it. You take as many interceptions as touchdowns with Captain Crab Legs.
That is not a good ratio.
All right, and that defense, I don't know if it's built to handle all the fucking turnovers, because Breeze wasn't a turnover machine. Winston is.
To quote an NBA great, that's terrible.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I mean,
and seeing Winston in Seattle and Wilson coming to New Orleans, that could happen.
Well,
I don't think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Winston goes to Seattle, he better brush up on his scrambling out the pocket to save his ass skills.
I think Jameis Winston's days as a starter are over. I think him and Mariota both lost that competition.
There's still other QBs that are still up in the air. Where the hell is Carson Wentz going?
He already signed to Indy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, dude, that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I stopped watching.
Yeah, he'll be thrown to T.Y. Hilton and who was that rookie? He was a hot waiver wire pickup this year. I can't remember, but they got a nice rookie receiver. They got Jonathan Taylor. Carson Wentz might fuck around and find themselves in the playoffs next year. We're gonna see if it was Carson or the Eagles like this season, like who the mismatch was in that relationship.
Well, I mean, we're coming up on the deadline where teams gonna have to slap a franchise tag on someone if they want to. And I mean, I know this is, it affects both teams the host root for. First being, Chris Godwin. Supposedly, Tampa's going to tag him with the franchise tag. He says he'll play with it. And then up here in Detroit, they're saying the same thing about fucking
Galladay.
Yeah, but apparently he's like, oh, it's funny, I'll be injured. So it's like,
hey, we did just sign Tyrell Williams. Did you guys see that?
Saw that.
Former Charger and Oakland Raider, and now current Detroit Lion. Hooray. We signed a guy who's always a late season waiver wire pickup, which means he's not that great.
Well, I mean, let's be real. What is the Lions' position right now?
Rebuilding.
And this is not a retooling. This is a rebuilding. It seems like from the ground up, from the top up, Sheila Ford seems like a hands-on owner who is intelligent enough to surround herself with people who aren't there just to get paid, a.k.a. Chris Spielman going, when he was offered the GM position, I can't do the job the way it needs to be done. That takes balls to turn down a GM position along with the pay that comes with it. And he did it. So she's smart enough to keep those people around her. Maybe there's some light at the end of this tunnel for you guys.
I'm saying with the signings and the trade, and especially the Matt Stafford trade and everything, that is not the SOP of the SOL.
We'll see. We'll see.
See, the only thing I think that could make this entire situation for the Lions a clusterfuck is if it's bullshit ego that's driving all this. Meaning, Sheila Ford gets in there, okay, Stafford, you're associated with previous Fords that ran this, get out of here, get the GM out, get the head coach out, I'm going to install my own people, and we're going to start from scratch because I'm so goddamn smart. I know more than everybody. I'm the smartest person in the room. That's the case, could backfire on you. But if it's being done for righteous reasons, look, this GM, this head coach, this quarterback weren't cutting it. We did not win with them. It's time to try something different.
Well, from the press conferences he's holding, the coach kind of knows his place, and it's not making the final call.
And hey, man, talk is cheap, motherfucker.
Talk is cheap, but like I said, with the trades they've already done, I'm kind of like, well, okay, that's different. Different's good.
I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again, man. Talk to me in October. That's when the rubber's going to be beating the road.
Hey, believe me, right there with you, man. Right there with you. I felt the same fucking way with Tampa. And next season, I ain't talking no shit. No, my team finished dead last. Whatever happens, I'm happy. I just don't trust them, man. Sorry. But no, man. I think the Lions have made some moves to take balls. Seems like I said, the people at the top are smart enough to know that they need to surround themselves with people who are self-aware and honest, not just, hey, I want this job, so I'll say what I got to say to get it. Oh, by the way, did you know I'm a rocket scientist? Oh, that's nice. Did it help you win games? No. Yeah. Who gives a fuck?
You should go be a rocket scientist because you're a shitty football coach.
Yeah, go put some shit on Mars and fuck off with your fucking play calling. And I don't want to hear about, I called the play that won the Super Bowl against the fucking Seattle, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. How many years ago was that? No one cares.
Hey, man, you flipped the coin and it came up heads. Congratulations.
Pretty much. So...
this year it's the age of the quarterback, man. Even Aaron Rodgers isn't safe in Green Bay. Come on.
Man, there was talk a couple seasons ago Aaron Rodgers getting the boot out of Green Bay.
Yeah, but current NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure he'll be all right. If Green Bay don't want him back.
Either.
If Green Bay don't want him back, he'll be the fucking mayor of wherever signs him.
And first of all, look, I get it. You're pissed that Green Bay drafted your replacement. But did you forget draft day for yourself there, Mr. Rodgers?
No,
because I sure as fuck didn't.
Let me remind you of the playoff when it was 4th down and 2 fucking yards to go, and they wouldn't let him throw the fucking ball.
Yeah, he was mad.
He's bent. So yeah, maybe Green Bay wants him back, but maybe Rodgers don't want to be there.
Well, he was already pissed that they drafted his fucking future replacement.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. But what the fuck do you expect? That is not a franchise that's going to suck your ass just because you're a Hall of Fame quarterback. They proved that already.
Looking at you.
Yeah. And they used Rodgers to prove it to Favre. So what makes Rodgers think he's so different? What? They think they're going to look at his team photo and say, hey, you banged Olivia Munn. Good
in
for
her
you.
prime. In her prime. You have to mention that.
Good for you. Oh, you've been up inside Danica Patrick's butthole? Nice. You ain't the quarterback here no more. We don't give a shit. That's how that franchise operates. He knew that. Didn't stop him from re-signing with him. Now he's going to fucking cry and throw a shit fit because, Green Bay going to Green Bay? I don't have any sympathy for him. Like, dude, this is the name of the game. It happened to Tom Brady, motherfucker. Who are you compared to Tom Brady? Nobody.
And then Tom came back and said, "Oh yeah, check this shit out."
Yeah, that's the only thing you should be concerned about, Tom Brady, is if they do get rid of you, getting back to the Super Bowl with your new team and lifting the Lombardi with your new team, and then looking in the camera and going, fuck you, Green Bay. That's the only thing you should care about.
Hey, did you hear after the Super Bowl, apparently Giselle asked Tom Brady, so what do you got left to prove?
Left to prove?
And he said, oh yeah, well, I bet no one's ever seen me throw a trophy between 2 boats before.
And the comment was made if they dropped it in the river, it'd go 80 feet to the bottom. And somebody said, so what? He's got 6 other ones. Yeah.
Well, to us, Gronk would have been in that water.
Dude, every fan on the shore would have been in that water. There would have been some drowned motherfuckers in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, boating parties in Florida get crazy anyways. A Super Bowl celebration? I can't even imagine how crazy that would be. Dude, they used to hold spring break and bike week at the same time in Daytona Beach.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I guarantee you the party wasn't that their parties back then wasn't as big as the party in Tampa, especially after the year we've had, because Florida is not one of the states that's like, you've been around your grandmother? Oh, we have to isolate you for the next 20 million years. They're not like that. So
just bike week and spring, just the ratio of how many people got pregnant that week it astounds me.
Okay. I've been to spring break as a participant twice, but I've been to bike week as a participant more times than I can count because I used to go with my dad and my uncles all the time. The spring breakers walking into a biker bar, not knowing it was a biker bar until they opened the door, and then the look on their face and I think we should go. That was what... Oops. What gave it away? All the fucking Harleys lined up outside? Did you not, but that was always fun. I think we made a wrong turn, Chet. Yeah, Brett, let's go back this way. He signed for another year. He's going to play out that contract. He's already said he's coming back. And, he says he wants to play to 45?
That's what he says.
That's another 2 seasons. He'll be 44 next season. His birthday's not that far off from mine because at the start of the season we're the same age. So, yeah, he'll be 44 at the beginning of next season.
Tampa Bay.
What the fuck else they got to do? He's signed for next year. If they bring him, if they bring back the core of that team and are able to keep it together, and they make another, let's say they make it to the NFC Championship game, get blown out, give him another fucking 2-year contract offer. Let him take it. What do you got to lose? Guys, you're going to be Tampa Bay when he leaves again. You're going to be Tampa Bay again when he leaves. He was the fucking missing piece, obviously. Captain Crablegs wasn't getting you that far, and he had all those weapons around him. Well, except for running backs, but...
The only 2 players that Tom Brady had that James Winston didn't have, 3 offensively, Gronk, Fournette, and AB. Now, those are hell of a 3 players to add, but
look at what they produced. Gronk was there more of a fucking in the Super Bowl. He was there to more be double teamed. Cameron Brate got the touchdown. They were so busy worrying about Gronk, they left Brate wide open. Boom, Brady to Brate, too easy. That's what AB. 2-3 catches.
But 2 of those names I just mentioned. Big differences in the Super Bowl, right? AB had touchdowns. Gronk had 2 touchdowns. AB had a touchdown. Didn't Fournette have a touchdown? All 3 of them did.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, yeah. But let's be honest. When did he get AB?
In November, October, whatever 8 weeks was.
And just being brutally honest, Fournette didn't set the world on fire down there. He's not the go-to every down back. I
read something, he almost didn't make the playoff roster.
That's what I'm saying. They were stacked at running back, dude. Stacked. Jones, Blunt, Fournette. There's 5 total.
Blunt ain't on the team no more. I don't think Blunt's even in the league.
Not Blunt.
Shady McCoy.
McCoy. Yeah, sorry. Jesus. I slipped back 3 years ago, apparently, in my brain there for a second.
Remember, Blunt came to Lions, Super Bowl, and that was it for his career.
Yeah. But, and then Gronk, Gronk is used probably as much as a decoy to soak up another defender as anything.
During the regular season, absolutely. It was what you said. It was double team Gronk and let Brate get this touchdown. But apparently in the Super Bowl, Kansas City forgot about Gronk.
A lot.
Which is weird because, let's be honest, that's when Gronk, kind of shines. He lives for those big games. That's why we know who he is.
That's why I was telling Chris the regular season don't mean shit. You take a 12-5 2 or I don't know what the fuck Kansas City's end season was. And then you take Tampa Bay had what 10-8, 10-7,
and they were 11-5.
Right, and that's your Super Bowl. And here's the thing, though: everybody knew how to stop Kansas City. Not everybody had the people to do it, but everybody knew how to stop them. Not everybody knew how to stop Tampa Bay because they never showed their true hand.
But also, too, so many weapons. You plan for one, the other one kills you. That was kind of what Tampa Bay did all year.
Well, they were deep at a lot of positions. They were pretty deep at fucking tight end. And you got Gronk, you got fucking Brait, and you got Howard. And I mean, Brait and Howard at this point, one of them is going to have to be a cap casualty.
Yeah,
but it's not because you're going to have to release one of them, not because you want to see him go. I mean, unless Gronk retires out of left field for nowhere, but I don't think that's happening. I think as long as Brady's going to play, Gronk's going to play. It seems to be that's his guy. Because remember when the story come out that Gronk was going to be traded to the Lions, and he's like, then I'll retire.
Yeah.
I'm not playing for anybody but Tom Brady. I'll retire. I mean, he sat out a fucking year to prove his point. I think we could take him at his word on this. So, I mean, and that offensive line performed a lot better than I thought they were going to. Of course, you have the GOAT behind you, so I guess that's some motivation to actually dig deep and, put a little extra into your blocks.
I'll give it up for this, Ice. You are right, because I'm sure there is a definite difference in the mental mindset of we got 16 weeks to go versus, dude, it's win or go home. I mean, it's the playoffs. But it's a 1 week season when you get to the playoffs.
But
no
Kansas City all season long. All season, Kansas City showed their hand.
No, you said it right. Keep going. No.
They showed their hand. And if you could figure out a way to get a couple of people to stop a few people, you could beat Kansas City. Well, and that's why I said Todd Bowles was the fucking MVP. Because he figured that plays out.
The irony of this run for Tampa and their run in 2002 is they both had their Goliath to slay, but they were Goliaths for different reasons, but it didn't matter. In 2002, it had been Donovan McNabb and the Eagles running bootleg over their ass for the previous 3 seasons. And what happened? Gruden got in there and said, played him in the regular season, lost to him. Sapp came up to Gruden on the bus ride to the plane, leaving the vet, and said, I'm fucking sick of losing to these cocksuckers. And Gruden looked at him and said, we got them. I got their blitz. I got their fucking packages. I got their scheme. If we see them, we'll steamroll these fuckers. And they did. And what happened this time? They played, everybody penciled fucking Kansas City in as Super Bowl champ. Not everybody, but most people had. They played Kansas City in week 12, lost. But obviously Bruce Arians and his staff went, we got them. They showed their hand. Unless they change it completely up, we got their ass if we meet them in the Super Bowl. And I think they kind of proved they did. Oh, and by the way, thank you, Kansas City, for flashing the peace sign and giving them bulletin board material, because that's what Tom Brady needs, right? I mean, you guys heard the story that he was calling everybody on the team the night before and going, yeah, remember when we played them last time and they were smart asses? We're winning tomorrow. You know this, right? Like, this is not a debate. This is not a question. We're winning. End of story. Click.
And to answer his wife, he's a competitor. There is nothing. As long as there's fight in him, he's got something to prove. Like this motherfucker might play till he's 50. It is no longer probably about winning for him. He's a football robot. He's just a true competitor.
He is like,
it's not about to prove anything. It's
no,
not.
At this point, no. Well, except for, I think, because if we could pump Brady full of like sodium pentothal and get him to tell us the truth no matter what, it's because I think he wants there to be no question he is the greatest to ever play his position, let alone the game of football ever. And
there is absolutely right now zero question in anybody's mind, honestly, unbiasedly, anybody's mind that Tom Brady is the best ever to play.
I know a lot of people that would sit here and argue to your dying breath and their dying breath that you're wrong.
Feel free.
I'll send them your way because I'm tired of having the conversations.
The man has a 7-3 Super Bowl record. Not a 7-3 starting record. Not a 7-3 playoff fucking record. A 7-3. Here's the show. This is what it's all for record.
Is a 700 winning percentage in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl.
I'm with you.
Not at home. Not away.
Somehow I hear, Joe Montana. I hear
get the fuck out of here.
Peyton Manning. I hear John Elway, Dan Marino. Like, all these names come up. All these people throw out whenever the greatest of all time comes out, and I just go very simply, how many rings do they have?
Yeah.
Fuck
no.
Fuck your personal records. How many rings do they have? Let's start there.
And I'll say to you motherfuckers who like to shout down Shaq, Tom's played in both eras. Tom's played in this new era, and Tom's played in that older era. So you can shut that noise down too.
Yep.
Sure did.
Now, Tom has also been a catalyst for some of the rules that have allowed this new era to exist.
Sport G.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Average weight loss 15.4 pounds in first 2 months. For guarantee cancel within first 14 days. Discount with 2 months of auto delivery. Food charged and shipped every 4 weeks. Call or see website for details.
Do you want to lose 18 pounds fast and improve your health? Now you can lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months with Nutrisystem. Get delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, even snacks and shakes delivered safely to your door. All delivered for free. It's easy to follow, and you'll see results in your first week. Just text BODY to 323232. You'll get your favorite foods made healthier and perfectly balanced to put your body in fat burning mode. Text BODY to 323232 right now and get 50% off a month of meals and shakes. That's right, 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immune system. Just text BODY to 323232 right now. There's even a money-back guarantee. Millions of people have lost weight with Nutrisystem, and you can too. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months. Just text BODY to 323232. That's BODY to 323232.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the name your price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There once was a dad who set out on a great quest to find the perfect Coke flavors at his family's request. So he went into a local store and grabbed the Coke Cherry Vanilla, Coke Cherry, and more. At dinner, they sipped Coke flavors and rejoiced. For everyone made their own delicious choice. Coca-Cola flavors. Unbelievably delicious. With so many delicious Coca-Cola flavors and Coca-Cola Zero Sugar flavors options to choose from, you'll have to taste them all.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sport G.
I'll give you fodder for your argument, Rich. Not just how many rings. All right, not that he's 7-3 in the Super Bowl, which is a stopping point for me. How many people has he thrown to? How many different fucking people has Tom Brady thrown to?
It was funny during. Go ahead.
Whereas Joe Montana always had Rice, Elway always had Shannon Sharp.
Actually, Steve. Oh shit! Who took over from Montana? And
Steve Young.
Steve Young. Thank you. He had more touchdown passes to Rice than Montana.
Well,
if you look at their stats, they were more of a battery than Montana and Rice were. But people always forget that.
So Montana had a hell of a running game. So
but what I'm saying is, I think people either A, forget that, or B, attribute a lot of the play as Steve Young did with Rice to Montana in an honest mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh no, man, Jerry Rice wouldn't be Jerry Rice without him. Like, no, Steve Young kind of got him most of the fucking stats that got him into the fucking Hall of Fame. You understand?
If you want to talk Montana, what about Rathman and Roger Craig? How you doing? Now, moving past that, Peyton Manning always had Marvin Harrison his whole career in Indy. How many different fucking people are well known in NFL football because Tom Brady threw to them?
Hey, I got a list. It's a year old, so it's got. So we know all the Tampa Bay targets, right? Godwin, Evans, Gronk, AB, Brait, was it that other guy, that rookie that was kicking ass?
Miller.
Yeah. All right, so there's those. But this is from last year, like literally almost a year ago, March 17th last year is the date on the article. Regular season, 541 touchdowns to 77 different targets. Gronk, Randy Moss, Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, James White, Deion Branch, Aaron Hernandez. Now here's where the list starts becoming spotty. Like motherfuckers, you're like, who? Daniel Graham, Benjamin Watson. I know him. He's a tight end that recently retired. David Patton. Who the fuck is that? Troy Brown.
Yep.
Christian Foria. David Givens.
Yep.
Chris Hogan. Danny Amendola.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Falk. Dude, so someone who's now a coach. Mike Vrabel. Right?
In the end zone. End zone. Yes.
Philip Dorsett, Brandon Cooks, Brandon LaFell, Shane Vereen, Martellus Bennett, Jabbar Gaffney, Tim Wright, Deion Lewis, Josh Gordon, Reese Caldwell, Scott Chandler, Aaron. Yeah, I mean we're just in a list of like who, and every now and then you hear a name that's familiar.
That's why I said, like, when I've ran into people and they insist that, no, he's not the best ever. And I'm like, well, who? And I mean, like, the usual suspects who I named, at least I'm like, you can, I guess, make an argument. I guess.
No, you can make an argument that those quarterbacks are great, and they are, and they were.
But then I hear.
But they're not the GOAT.
But then I hear shit like, Brett Favre. And I'm like, you did not. Just because you have to prop up with a cherry picker Brett Favre to get him anywhere near Tom Brady. Like, seriously. Like, look at the hardware Favre has. Look at the weapons Favre had. Look at fucking, and because you're absolutely right. On my Facebook memory, something popped up a few weeks ago from a Super Bowl that was like, I don't know. I think it was the one where they didn't run beast mode at the end of the game. And I had posted during the game, Tom Brady giving white boys hope they can grow up to be giving white boys hope they can grow up to be wide receivers in the NBA or NFL since 2001. And I was like, yeah, because I don't know who the fuck half of his receivers are. He makes them better.
Yeah, you know why Tom Brady's great? It's the same reason why Patrick Mahomes is going to be great. He makes the people around him better.
Yep.
Like, Mahomes is doing this too. Like, yeah, he's got Cheetah, but other than that, it has been a cast of who the fuck is that?
See, and that's where Giselle, the question she asked Brady was, what do you got left to prove? I haven't talked to the man, I'm just assuming, but it seems like that he's like me. There's like 5 things that prove who the best is, and that's scoring, all-around ability, hardware, stats, and then ultimately longevity. Because I don't want to hear about a guy who, rushed for 1,500 yards but only lasted a season and a half. He ain't going into the Hall of Fame. He ain't in the. He doesn't have the longevity to talk about. Now, maybe single greatest season, whatever, but you get my drift. He wants that longevity in there. He wants to be in the same conversation with people like Gordie Howe and Chris Chelios. And Jesus Christ, Bartolo Colon is still in the fucking major leagues.
Really?
He just hit a home run in spring training.
What is he, like 57?
He's bigger than Babe Ruth, but he's in.
It's funny you said 57. He's 47. And that's if that's his real age, because a lot of those guys, like we're finding out with the Pujols shit, they come from other countries. They lie about their age as it suits them. So he's 47 as far as we know. Might actually be older.
Look, I'm in Rich's boat. I haven't talked to Tom Brady, but I'll throw it in and say he's not trying to prove anything at this point. I think he's playing it because he absolutely loves the fucking game.
Yeah, he's a true competitor, and he loves football.
He just loves football.
I think probably most likely he's one of those people that he hates to lose more than he wants to win.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever noticed, even in Tampa Bay, the greatest player of all time, his contracts are not that splashy. What they are is they're all backloaded based on performance. He doesn't get a ton of money up front. Tom gets paid based on what he accomplishes.
Well, he got paid this year, let me tell you.
And he's
that goes to prove my point, though, because Chris, like you said, he only had 3 or 4 different people in Tampa Bay on offense. So with Godwin, Miller, and Evans, are you telling me you couldn't even make the playoffs with Winston? But you won the fucking Super Bowl with Tom Brady? Huh. I wonder why he's the GOAT now. That's why.
I mean, dude, bottom line, he wins another one at the age of 44 or older. Anybody who's like, oh, he's not the greatest ever, I'm just going to be like, you're like those people who think the world is 6,000 years old. We can be friends, but we can never talk about this subject because you're retarded.
He doesn't even have to win another one. If he even goes close to it, if he gets there, and he has a 7-4 record, come on, man.
I hate giving Jim Nantz credit because he's so uppity and shit, but he made a great point, at the end of the Super Bowl. All right, it's now Mahomes has been, labeled as the next GOAT. Mahomes has to win at least 8 to even be considered the new GOAT. Brady is everything now. I mean, he's just cementing it.
Oh, dude, I got into a Facebook discussion with a friend of mine who, the night before this last Super Bowl, goes, "You're about to watch Mahomes rip off the second of 5 consecutive Super Bowl wins."
Oh.
And I went, uh-oh. Brother, you're a cool guy, but the business end of your crack pipe is hot to the touch. There's no way you think he's going to win. No one has won 5 Super Bowls in a row, period, end of story. No one's won 5 championships in a row in football, period, end of story. There's a reason for that.
Has anyone done that in any sport?
Well, you got Michael Jordan, who came closest, but he retired in the middle of his 6th.
No, not even. You got the early 90s or the early 80s, late 70s Islanders. They won 4 cups straight. Maybe Montreal back in the day, but there was only 6 teams in the NHL. 4 of them made the playoffs. So I mean, you do the math on that. Or no, everybody made the playoffs, I think, and yeah, but still. Yeah, it's what I'm saying is it's like you're out of your fucking mind, man. Like, and I'm high on the guy too. I think no one has as big of an upside as him in the NFL today. Period. End of story. I mean, unless something happens to him injury wise, or he just retires, pulls a Jim Brown, and just quits. I mean, sky's the limit for him. I think he's one of the most exciting players to play in the NFL. He could probably, maybe, I don't know. Who knows how the rules change? Maybe he'll end up with 5 fucking Lombardis by the time it's over with. But in a row, I don't think so. Don't think so. But you see what I'm saying? Now he's also a younger guy, and he's younger by me by like 12 years. But this is the shit that I'm like, you're falling in love with your own generation. You're believing your own hype. Dude, I understand the greatest hockey players to ever play the game. I didn't watch most of them play. They were here, they played and were done before I was born. All right? Like, it's okay to admit that. He's part of that generation. It's like, no, my generation. It's like,
Hey, by the way, look at the big brain on Rich. The only team in professional sports to win 5 in the row, the Canadians, from 1950 to 1956.
Yeah. Dude, as many championships as they got, people, the Red Wings or the Yankees are the... Look at the Red Wings championships. Look at the Montreal Canadiens championships. And then compare the Canadiens championships to the Yankees championships. A lot more in common there.
I remember being in school, and for some reason, back been going down a rabbit hole meant you busted out the encyclopedia, right? And reading about NHL and looking at the list of the teams that won, and remember like getting to a certain period and going, Jesus Christ, did Montreal just keep the cup for did they just call it the Montreal Stanley Cup? Because it's just there's in the early days of the league, it's just Montreal, and Toronto. It's like Montreal, Toronto, and then just Montreal.
Yeah, I mean, because for the longest time they had the best player in the league, Maurice Richard,
the Rocket.
Yeah, I mean, And when there's only 6 teams in the league and there's only 18 skaters and 2 fucking goalies per team, yeah, the cream's going to rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not packing your team full of 4th line guys. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, look, I put it, and I've said it already, but I'm just going to sum my side up for Tom. He's done it with 2 different teams, 2 different coaching staffs,
2 different eras.
He's done it with 2 different eras. He's done it with multiple, as Chris showed, multiple receivers. Doesn't matter who's on the goddamn field. I don't know anybody who can do that. Anybody who has done that.
Well, I'll say this.
In any sport. He's the closest thing to Michael Jordan I've ever seen. Because Michael Jordan does it in the 90s Bulls. He's like, anybody who wanted to play and win a championship came to Mike and was like, can I play for a minute?
Well,
Another team.
We now have to change the expression, right? It's no longer he is the Michael Jordan of blank. It now has to be he is the Tom Brady
of blank. Yeah, because Brady did something.
Michael Jordan is the Tom Brady of basketball.
It's the most millennial thing you've ever said. But no, all bullshit aside, he's done something that is very rare to do for anybody in any sport, let alone in football being the quarterback. He switched teams. Because I fully admit, there's fucking going on 5, shit, this month, isn't it? This month is 5 years we've been doing this show, right?
Yep.
March 2016 is when we started.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's a quick half decade.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been 7 years for Unregimented come June.
No shit.
For you guys sooner. For me, too. But, I've said on the show, like, I was thoroughly convinced that, yeah, Brady's an amazing quarterback, but it's that coupled with Belichick's system. And, I mean, yeah, we've only had 1 year sample size, but based on this year, I need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'll go all the way back to my first episode. You could go look it up on Sporgy. The first question I was asked, is it Brady or the system? And I said it was the system, just like it was with Michael Jordan and Phil.
I think we were all in lockstep on it was the system. And this year we were all told to shut the fuck up.
And that's what pretty much have a Coke and a smile.
That's what I want to say to Rich's friend he wasn't bringing up Jordan, but anyone who wants to say Jordan is better than Brady, no, fuck you, because you know what? Jordan wore a Bulls uniform the whole time.
And when he didn't do shit with any other team.
Yeah.
Okay, because you can make the same argument that, well, I mean, if you look at stats and, Gretzky has more assists than almost anybody else has points. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's the definition of making players around you better. But Gretzky still only won his cups with one team. He went to L.A. They built a team around him in L.A. to, 1, heighten the fucking awareness of the sport, which it did, and 2, bring a cup to L.A., and that didn't happen. And I mean, like, they were like, what would you like, Mr. Gretzky, sir? Literally, he's like, I don't like your enforcer. I need Marty McSorley. Sure, trading for McSorley right now, sir. And they did.
Marty who? He's dead to us.
So, I mean, it's just like, look, bottom line, when it comes to greatest athletes of our lifetime, you fuck pencil them in. Put them in with permanent marker at the top of the football player list. Maybe not your favorite, but no one's done it as long and as good as he has. And has made so many players around him better, and has always played at a high level, and done it with separate teams.
Which, by the way, I finally also found a decent argument to shoot down the Bill Russell, who always comes up. He's got like 11 or some shit. It's the NBA was like 8 teams when he did it.
Yeah, and
he was the tallest player in the league
by far. I mean, go back and look at some of this shit, like with like Wilt Chamberlain. He's towering over his teammates, and you're thinking like he must have been like 7'8". No, he's like 6'6", 6'7". That's average height in the NBA these days.
I mean, your league is the size of 2 divisions. Of course, there's going to be probably just a couple teams that just constantly just win.
Yeah, and I mean, amazingly, the team in basketball who had the biggest, tallest, most physical dude won a lot.
Shocking how that works.
Yeah, back when you could play basketball on the court. I mean,
And we brought it all back around. Shaq would be proud.
Shaq would be very, very proud.
Well, there's one more thing I want to bring up real quick because we've talked about him before. He used to be a coach here in Detroit, and he was a coach in Toronto. That's Mike Babcock. Apparently, his he even though he hasn't coached since last season because he got fired in November last year, he felt he needed some attention, so he come out and he said that in an interview that all these coaching controversies that have come out about him about berating players and hazing players and bullying and actually physically hitting players, that, it doesn't pass the smell test. It doesn't add up. And I'm just sitting here like, because you say it doesn't. Okay, well, that's the most millennial thing I've heard today. Because who gives a fuck what you think? I mean, and to remind you guys, this is all based off former players of his coming out saying how shitty of a coach he was, how he would dress down players in front of everybody, do it in front of reporters, no regard for privacy, no regard for the sanctity of the locker room or whatever, you know what I'm saying? All that shit. And I'm just sitting here like, dude, we all remember Mike Babcock was the biggest thing in NHL coaching, 16, 17 years ago? Is when he really, when he coached the Ducks to their cup finals and their goalie won the Conn Smythe, even though they ultimately lost to New Jersey. I mean, he was the hot thing. The Red Wings, all you heard was bring Babcock here, bring Babcock here.
Yeah, because wasn't he the guy that made Anaheim not a joke?
Yeah, yeah, the Ducks, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he came here, he got his cup. He had 2 cup appearances. He left. He went to Toronto. Now, I don't know if it's in Toronto for hockey is like, being the manager of the New York Yankees. The spotlight is crushing. So, I mean, I pretty much just chalked up his career to sunlight's the best disinfectant. And when people actually started taking a real close look at his coaching methods and his way of dealing with shit was like, nah, man, it's high risk, high reward, and the reward ain't showing up anymore like it used to.
Well, I think what happened, it's just my opinion, is he's an old school guy, and and shit changed during his career.
Yeah, in a millennial world.
Like when he started, you could do shit the way he does shit, and you could get successful, and you could get success, right? Whereas this new softer athlete has crept into all sports, like his style and being successful with them just doesn't add up anymore.
Happened to a lot of coaches. Happened to Bobby Knight in Indiana.
But how long did he think like punching people and throwing shit was gonna?
Well, I mean, dude, the final straw was grabbing his player by the throat in that practice that he didn't realize was being taped, or he didn't care. And it was
Either
like,
one.
Well, it's technically an assault. I mean,
ask Latron Sprewell.
Right.
Okay, ask him how. Speaking of motherfuckers that got charged in real life for shit that happened on a basketball court or a sporting event, he choked his coach and caught a fucking charge. And to an extent, I do agree with you because Babcock does go on to make. This is the case he makes, even though to me the case he's making is these players are soft. Okay, well then just say that, because he comes out and he goes, I've coached 34 years. Let's do 20 guys. Let's do the math. Lots of players. I've coached Olympic teams. I've changed goalies. I've coached veteran teams to the Stanley Cup final and scratched guys. You make people mad. That's reality. I've coached a lot of teams and had a lot of success, and good people have hired me. He goes on to say that Steve Yzerman played for him for 4 years and then hired him when he was in charge of the Olympic teams to coach the Olympic team. And then Brendan Shanahan was either president or GM of Toronto, and he hired him. Okay, well, yeah, let's take a look at this. You say it's the players getting soft. I can kind of agree with that because I would imagine guys like Eiserman and Shanahan would rather get caught with their dick in a fucking cheese grater than caught bitching and moaning about practice being too hard. But at the same time, like I said, like stories have come out about Babcock, like physically assaulting guys. And I'm just sitting there going, these are grown men, paid very, very fucking well to play a game. Like, I understand tempers run high, but when you got a coach who's going to just put his hands on players because he's pissed at them and assault them?
Well, that's... Oh God, I hate the world we live in now that I always have to ask this kind of question. Our definition of assault and somebody 15 to 20 years younger definition of assault might be two different things. Yes. Like I'm saying, Bobby Knight comes up to me and chokes me like, motherfucker, you're going to get assaulted back. Like, but, you know, like...
If he comes up and grabs you and positions you and says, this is the position you're in when this play is in... You know, when we're running this play, not the position you were in, and goes off, that's not assault. He just corrected your stance, and he might have done it roughly.
Yes.
I don't.
Well, yeah, but if he takes a stick and slashes you on the leg or slaps you on the ass, I mean, some people would consider that assault, and that's just going out. You know, get your shit together, get your head in the game.
Well, if you're fully fucking padded up and someone fucking hits you in the shin pads to get your attention, that's one thing. You double hand like a goddamn sword and take a swing at a guy's head with a stick, that's assault with a deadly weapon. And
well, but I highly doubt Babcock was swinging for the fences.
Well, one of the stories that I completely unsubstantiated, this is all alleged, because God knows who's listening, and I don't want to get us in trouble, but people who claim to work for the Red Wings when they were talking about it locally called in and said, oh yeah, we've seen them pick up equipment and hit players with it. Swing sticks at players, you know, hit players in the back of the neck where they don't have padding and the helmet doesn't go down when they're on the with sticks or whatever, you know, clipboards when they're on the bench. And I'm like, I get it. Winning solves a lot of problems, but at the same time, man, I'm a goddamn human being. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Your job, you're not a boss at McDonald's, okay? Like, I get it. So you're going to, yelling comes with the territory. But you start putting your hands on me, coupling with berating me in front of the team to the point where, because, by the way, this is what brought this to a head. Babcock handed a player, Mitch Marner, for Toronto, he handed him a supposed confidential questionnaire to fill out. About, you know, what do you think are the team's strengths and weaknesses? How would you review your teammates' work ethic, et cetera, et cetera? Told him this was a private thing, then came out after practice, called him on the carpet in front of the team, and read everything he wrote out loud to the team.
Here's a question I have.
That's a bitch move. You don't... I'm sorry, go ahead.
All of these things you're saying, it's my question is, isn't there a players union? If all of this shit was going on and just rampant, and he's been a coach for 34 years, why is the players union stepped in? Like, that's...
I think that shows you just how little power the players union actually has. And I mean, especially if you want to talk about in American sports, maybe the NFL players union has less power than the NHL, but that's the only reason I would frame it that way is because they can't get guaranteed contracts for their players.
Like, change the venue, right? Let's say this isn't a hockey team. You know, this is just a shop, you know, here, a powder coat shop, you know, here in the Metro Detroit area. The union and then lawsuits would happen so fast. So I just, part of me just wonders if, like, he was mean to these guys, and I don't, because that's the thing. If there's a players union, how does any shit like this go down at all on any team, let alone with him?
Well, I mean, like, look, okay, this incident that happened in Toronto with Mitch Marner, I don't know Mitch Marner's personality well at all. I've not seen a lot of interviews with him. But the major person, apparently his whipping boy here in Detroit, was Johan Franzen. If you know anything about Franzen, His nickname was the fucking Mule.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. He took a beating in front of the net. He took over for Thomas Holmstrom, who took over for Dino Ciccarelli. You know, the guys who park their ass in front of the net and take the abuse from the goalie and a defenseman.
Marty LaPointe looking at you.
You know, so I'm just like, Franzen doesn't strike me as a type to cry about weak titty bullshit. And it's like, you know, what we're hearing is you go, yeah, well, you know, they're players and blah, blah, blah. But like, dude, to me, it's a line of professional respect. Don't put your hands on me in a manner, and I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I don't think Franzen is like a snowflake. Like if he grabbed him to correct him, like during a practice session, I don't think Franzen would be like, he put his hands on me. Me too.
I guess what I'm getting at is if there is proof he put hands on people and like tons of people can substantiate it, and you know for the last 10 years we've been in a society where everything is taped all the time. What's your union for?
That's a very good question.
And I look at it like this: he isn't right or wrong. All right, let's say he did do all of this shit, bounce the board off of people's heads and shit. It's worked for him. It got him hired in Anaheim, and like he said, he got hired in Detroit and Toronto, and the Olympics. That's who he was. So the people that knew who he was put him back into the position to be that person because it worked for him.
Which is where I'm like, makes me wonder and side more with what Chris is saying. Is this just? Are we hearing it filtered through people who are trying to push an agenda? And so they paint it in such a light, and they put a spin on it that, this was physical assault. When it's like any of us would look at it and go, no, man, he slapped his shoulder to get his attention.
And for somebody who's been in the league for 34 years, how come none of these complaints seem to date past the late 2000s?
No, they do go back to Anaheim. It's just, it wasn't as, I think Anaheim was like, they didn't want to keep him as head coach, and they were like, hey, we get compensatory picks. And yeah, but if another team comes to pick him and poaches him from him, because I believe in the NHL it's the same as in football, in NFL, meaning you can't go and hire out from under another team their head coach without giving that team compensation for that. You see what I'm saying? So they didn't want to fucking spoil the trade waters or the compensation waters of people coming to inquire about him, especially since they knew the big spenders, Avalanche, Detroit, etc., were looking for head coaches at that point. Well, not Avalanche necessarily. They'd already conceded they were in the rebuild mode. But you get what I'm saying. And so, but the fact that Chris Chelios come out and said the way that Babcock, now he doesn't say he ever witnessed anything physical, but he said the way Babcock talked to Franzen, that Franzen was the team's whipping boy, or Babcock's whipping boy on the team. And apparently Chelios described him as the worst person I've ever met. He's a bully. And I'm just like, that's kind of pussy-ass language for Chelios. What kind of bully are we talking about? But then again, who the fuck knows, man? I mean, we don't know. And to your point about the union, dude, they couldn't stop 2 work stoppages. They couldn't stop an implementation of a salary cap. I mean, the NHL Players Union is pretty fucking weak, man.
What's that? Well, if I play for the NHL, I'm like, well, can I just keep these union dues?
Yeah, since you ain't doing anything for me. I mean, it's
just as effective.
You're taking how much out of each check? And what did you do? Nothing. You know what I found? If I don't give you that money, I get the same result. So I'll just go ahead and keep it. But yeah, I see that once again. I hear this shit and I don't know how to feel about it, because Babcock has always struck me as a cocksucker. He's always struck me as he's just an asshole. I've never really seen anything that made the guy look like he'd be a decent type of guy to hang out with. He seems like he's very good at certain things. He's very set in his ways. Leave him alone and you're fine.
Cocksucker who wins. Didn't he win a gold medal too?
Well, if you can't win a gold medal with a hand-picked Team Canada by fucking Steve Yzerman, come on now. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean,
Helen fucking Keller could have won the gold medal with that team.
I mean, it's just I'm just throwing that out there, and that's how come I kind of was like I chuckled when he's like, I've coached 2 Olympic teams and I've changed goalies. Yeah, and that's a 2-week 2-week mini camp, and a couple 10 games tops in the span of 3 weeks, and you're versus 82 games plus a playoff run. Yeah, you didn't have time to wear out your welcome, dude. On top of that, he might be one of these people that maybe Franzen is just for as tough of a player as he was on the ice, he's a reserved guy. And like, if he is a bully, most bullies don't go looking for the hard targets. They look for the ones that are going to take it.
One of the biggest motherfuckers I know is one of the biggest softies I know.
Yeah, Brian Marconi, all 6'5", 280 pounds of him, and he's got a left jab that couldn't break wind.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, not saying Babcock's not an asshole. It's just we live in this world now of where we can say a lot of unsubstantiated shit and get away with it. It just congratulations to everybody. I'm now skeptical of everything.
As you should be, because we've gotten rid of due process, we've gotten rid of guilty till proven innocent, and we've let Twitter mobs basically decide justice for us.
I've even now where there's been video of shit, I'm like, yeah, but deepfakes exist.
Which, by the way, it's funny you said that, because I think all 4 of us, yes, Todd was still on Regiment at that time, when we brought up the deepfake shit, we're like, oh yeah, nothing bad can come of this, right?
Yeah.
Like, really? Yeah, I'm sitting here watching a fucking video that looks realistic as fuck of Scarlett Johansson getting gangbanged by 20 guys. And my dick's fooled. So, hey.
There is a show on Comedy Central that is nothing but deepfakes. It's made by the South Park guys. It's called Sassy Justice, and it's hosted by Fred Sassy, and Fred Sassy is Donald Trump with the different kind of hair.
Of course. Oh, good. Well, there you go.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't go to Twitter and try to defend these guys, because you'll get banned.
Well, just don't go to Twitter anyway.
I get it. It's for fucking chicken shits who like take pot shots from the side and then disappear back into the fucking scenery. But it's like, it's such a chicken shit thing.
It's Alec Baldwin, of all people, I think nailed the perfect description of Twitter. Twitter is like going to a party where everybody's yelling.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, it's a pretty fucking accurate way to describe it. I'd say, yeah. And you can't, and on top of that, even when you do think you hear something, apparently you got it wrong. No, that's not what they meant. Or someone's going to tell you what you really meant. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you crawl up in my head? Did you? No? Fuck off. Don't put words in my mouth. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said. Don't try to dog whistle it up.
And on that note, follow us on Twitter at SportG Podcast. You can like us on Facebook. You can email us, sportg@christophermedia.net. Go to christophermedia.net, hit up the Amazon banner, click through it. You can help us out without paying anything extra. Or if you're into paying extra, you can hit the PayPal button and give us a couple ducats that way. And where can you listen to us? The answer is everywhere. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, who apparently is about to overtake Apple Podcasts in number of people listening every day, which is crazy. Spreaker, Stitcher, and now YouTube. So wherever you can listen to podcasts, we are there.
Basically, if you go to take a piss in the podcast world, you're going to bump your nuts on some place you can listen to us.
Yes. And, we're never going, well, I can't never say never, because if someone shows up with a big giant check and says, come to our platform, we'll definitely only be on that platform. But until then, I will never cut off where you can listen to us at. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Later, guys.
Peace out, y'all.
Hey, so how you doing, man?
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
If you look around, you'll see the world can be pretty smart. Okay, very smart. At Capella University, we think education should be smart too. That's why we're reshaping online learning with our FlexPath format. You can set your own deadlines, take classes at your own pace, even leverage your previous experience to move faster. So when it comes to earning your bachelor's degree, you know what kind of choice to make. A smart one. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.